Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Cosplay Photo Critique. Um, Miraculously, I feel like we've been tech issue free so far today. So, if
you just jinxed it. Thank you.
I was gonna say, so if you see us just totally crash and burn in the middle of this episode, you'll know why. Uh, Today we have the lovely Felix, or FX Dandy, joining us. Uh, Pleasure having you on, Felix.
Oh. It's funny because like year and a half, well, not even a year, like a little over a year, like I submitted my first photo, and like now I'm here.
Yeah, I mean we've only been doing this for like a year and a half ish. When did we technically start? Hold on, let's look this up because I honestly not remember. So our first stream was on 2017. It was June 29th, 2017. So almost about a year and a half. That's about right. So maybe a little bit longer than
my
that.
first submission was in November that year.
Hell yeah. So not too much after that we started. Well, it's awesome having you on. Sarah has a voice this time, which is also good.
I do, but I have like this residual cough, so I apologize in advance if I'm just fucking coughing the entire time.
It's better. It's better than being just totally dead like last time, though.
Oh, but I just want to preface with like, if I'm being like particularly like concise with my critique, it's not because I don't care. It's just the more I talk, the more irritated it gets. Oh,
totally. Okay.
Great out.
It's like you just needed to give an example, just like this. Like if I talk too much, this is the thing will happen.
It's like that dry cough, you guys. It's just so.
Oh, that's so shitty. I mean, I feel like so many of us have been there, so yeah. Okay.
Hey.
Let's see. Okay, let's get to know a little bit more about Felix. So, Felix, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and like how long you've been shooting and whatnot?
It'll be about a year and 4 months soon. Before
It? Oh my god!
I know, it cracks me up.
I hate you. So talented.
A couple but this a lot of people don't know this actually. So before taking on photography, I cosplayed for about a year and a half before switching sides, and last year I did 20 conventions. Just to like learn, just to get the hang of taking photos.
One, switching sides make it sound like you switched the enemy team. Like
he's on the dark side now.
You're just like. The other thing there is, I feel like you've shot more conventions than I have, and you've only been shooting for what, year and 4 months? You said.
Yeah, I would not recommend doing 20 conventions ever unless you really want to. I'd say I should have stopped at 8.
I mean, yeah.
You must love yourself. Just kidding.
That sounds.
I love travel, so it's like I got to travel to all these places and do paid photography work for it.
Well, I suppose that is a clear and easy way to improve, is just like fucking going super hard and being like, hey, I'm just gonna shoot nonstop. And yeah, that it's worked out because, man, you've improved super fast. So point in case that I guess that, you know, if you practice a ton, it does pay off. Because sure as shit better than me after that short of a period of time.
Oh my god, Felix's Devilman Crybaby photo is so good. Just sorry. It's so pretty. Anyway.
Let's see. So, what got you into shooting cosplay?
Couple of reasons. When I first started off as not when I first, like near the kind of like halfway point, tail end of like doing cosplay. The paid photos I was getting back from like the cost famous photographer, it didn't seem like they tried as much as they would like, you know,
I thought
shooting
I got
famous
salty
people.
and shady. I live for this kind of stuff.
At the time, I was getting pretty dissatisfied with cosplay and my other hobbies. Like, I was mediocre at cosplay, and like the only thing I was good at the time was like video games, like League of Legends and fighting games. So I was just like, this isn't like worth the return on the return. Like, this isn't worth my time. But yeah, I was like pretty jaded on how photographers were treating me, but I got even more jaded when like how certain photographers were treating my girlfriend. She cosplays a lot.
How
Mango
can you be mean to Emra? She's so cute.
It's just like doing like some
Wow.
really unprofessional stuff, like talking about her behind her back, calling her fat. Like, and this is within like friend groups, because you know
I know.
the cosplay
Oh, I
community is
know.
pretty tight knit, depending on yeah. And
Leave Emra alone. Oh my god.
Leave Emra alone.
just like
She's
kind of
precious.
like this is from my own experience as well. Just like using the camera as a tool of power rather than a tool for art. Like, it's pretty gross.
Wow, that actually makes me want to scream. I'm internally screaming right now.
Sarah's like, I can't scream because I will have to cough, but know that I am screaming.
Know that if you
That's
guys ever
fucking-
see or experience this kind of behavior, speak up. These people are fucking bullies.
Yeah, and let us know. Like,
Yeah, let us know. I
Yeah.
want to. If someone is an asshole, I don't care who the fuck you are. I need to know. So, I mean, I have no problem telling other people who's an asshole. So, whatever.
she doesn't. Can confirm. Well, that's a interesting pathway in, but I'm glad you're here. Maybe not. Maybe
Mike is like, what an intro.
yeah. Maybe not the way that I feel like the lovely, wonderful introduction to cosplay photography. I feel like most people would have, but you know. Most people like, well, you know, I was going to cons and I was enjoying myself and taking photos. Felix is like,
was an asshole.
yeah,
and
I
then
was dealing with
changed sides.
shitty people and was like, man, I want to be a not shitty person. Fuck everyone. I'm gonna be better. And yeah, that's certainly different than most people's stories.
I take photos for justice.
Well, that's a powerful feeling. Okay.
Anyway,
So the question that you that you were like, I don't know how to answer this, but I think is lovely. So how would you describe your style?
I love colors. My photos lack a lot of shadows, but I'm planning to get more into it. It's I haven't really found my style yet, really. Just because, like, you look at Sarah's work, your work, you can kind of tell, like, oh, this is a Sorairo-Days photos. Oh, this is a
Really?
Vontography photo.
So
yeah, I think so.
what I
you
will
like it
say
yourself, and I know it's yours.
So what I will say is I feel like almost like so many photographers are like, yeah, I don't have a style. When they do, they just like it's just their work, so they can't recognize their style in their work.
But yeah,
I
it's
feel like Felix. I feel like your style is like very cinematic,
yeah.
like the way you treat colors.
Yeah, I do agree with you because I kind of understand that because your work has grown so much so quickly that it's harder to necessarily pin down. But I do really see that like desire to play with colors in your shot. So
blows my mind. Oh my god.
but yeah, that's a complex topic, and I'm sure it will continue to change. So do you shoot any things outside of cosplay?
I've shot fashion before. I do a lot of actor headshots. every now and then, and I'm really trying to get into pet photography.
Douglas.
And then I'm also doing a handful of weddings this summer.
Oh, that'll be
Yikes.
fun.
Sarah's like, that'll be fun. Me, yikes.
I'm trying to do more normie stuff, so I have like more time to shoot at actual conventions, like fun stuff. Because like
Yeah.
a lot of people who know me, like I tend to shoot from like morning to sunset, like just all paid work, and it's
Yeah.
like, man, I really want to shoot for fun.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
totally.
I feel that's important.
Well, it's
Yeah.
also good to just kind of like diversify your portfolio subject-wise too.
Yeah,
So.
it's nice to have that. Like, I feel like I want to get back into shooting a bit more normie stuff as well because, like the normie stuff in my portfolio is fairly old at this point. It's not necessarily bad, but I don't think it reflects my current work necessarily. So I need more of that. So what's your favorite thing to shoot?
Cosplay, specifically sword characters.
Sword
Like,
characters?
Yeah, I can't get enough of sword characters.
That's
I don't know
good
why,
to know.
but maybe it's because they're fun to frame, like because they have a sword, or just like anything, any cosplay with an obnoxious weapon. Really,
I find it.
capes are cool too.
Man, I wish I was better at that. I feel like I'm not particularly great at integrating props into cosplay photos. Something I want to get better.
It's hard to like learn how to pose properly with props.
I
know like before I go into a shoot, I actually text one of my friends because he has a lot of knowledge on how to like properly hold like swords especially. So I'm always like, is this right? Is this good? I don't know.
It's one of those things that like in general I know correct form for a lot of things, but like I always feel weird like spending a ton of time correcting, and sometimes it's a lot of like it's just annoying to do. So I tend to shy away from props for the most part, but that's interesting that's something that you enjoy. And now that I'm looking at it and like kind of the scrolling through photos, I realize a lot of them do have props or swords of some sort.
Yeah.
Okay. The question that I have yet to get the specific answer I'm looking for, just to mix it up. But do you prefer shooting at cons or locations? Or on location, I should say.
Besides MagFest and SakuraCon, on location stuff is worth the effort.
Yeah,
I think the coolest.
It continues
the coolest
to be
location I've shot was the abandoned church.
I love that location that you guys have.
I want to go back there and shoot. I heard that it was not as accessible as it used to be, but
that's what I heard too, actually.
It's falling apart, so be careful. I wouldn't recommend people going there unless it's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I haven't gone back, because I've not heard great things about its conditions. But for that answer, I feel like we're probably like 10 for location shoots and 0 for at cons. I'm waiting for one person to be like, I prefer cons. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I'll keep on asking.
I really love SakuraCon. Like, I feel like that probably has the best sets. Like one of the best sets for like cosplay photography. But it's like funny because like there's a lot of hidden places that people don't know about.
Yeah,
but, like I just can shoot all day, and I'm like, wow, this is so stress free.
It is,
and like, it's so beautiful here.
Also, Seattle. It's like there's even if you're not in the convention center, which, like you said, has a lot of areas. Like you can just go downtown.
Where is it down? Is it in the downtown convention center there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same.
Where PAX Prime is.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean that doesn't help me. I just I was in Seattle last year and just for fun, and I was like, is this the convention? I don't feel like there's a lot of great locations right around here, but I wasn't really exploring for that purpose.
They are hidden. Like they're not like very front facing. It's kind of like you have to just walk around and look for them, but there are a lot of
that's interesting to know though. Yeah. So Felix, how do you approach a shoot?
My way of approaching a shoot with a cosplayer, it's it's very collaborative. I ask about
Yeah.
what the cosplayers' needs and like their ideas before I even go along with like my ideas. I always try to get their ideas down first.
Yo,
I
listen to
do
Felix.
I do my best to pick the best locations before the shoot even begins, assuming it's at a convention, because they usually arrive a day early just to like
Out.
scout the area. And then I have three different primes, so I usually choose which one based on what the cosplayer is looking for. And I always make it a point to make the cosplayer like not look unflattering, because that was the thing when I was cosplaying. I didn't want to look like unflattering, so I always ask like, "Oh, is this a flattering angle for you?" I also show back of camera because I feel like it's a great way to bounce ideas back and forth with cosplayers.
Awesome. Kind of on that same topic, and I feel like you kind of answered this from a bit of a like mentality approach before, but since you were also a cosplayer, how did those experiences on the other side of the lens affect the way that you shoot?
Uh, it's been. I think it's been way too long. Maybe my cosplayer license should be revoked.
You're just like, I haven't done it in like 30 years, so who knows?
You look like ain't even 30 years old yet.
I pretty much take all of mine and my girlfriend's positive and negative experiences with photographers and try to learn from that. So a couple things I really try to do are photos on time, make sure to be upfront about pricing and expectations, conducting a shoot safely and professionally even after the photos are returned back. Because it's like cosplay photography is at a bit of a wild west. There's no industry standards. Anyone can call themselves a photographer. Anyone can call themselves a professional. It's like, hey, I charge money. I'm a professional now. It's I think we're jumping the bandwagon from photographer to, oh, I'm a creative. So I like the title more, and like, but yeah, if someone's saying like advertising themselves as like a photographer or a professional photographer, I don't really think it means
Yeah,
as much as it did back then.
I love you, Felix. Wow.
I that's a mentality that I agree with, because like I don't call myself a professional photographer because I'm not, but I feel like I hear those combos of words bandied about a lot in the cosplay photography scene, and I'm like, but are you though? Like,
Honestly, I feel like the only time you can call yourself a professional photographer, and this is just me, is if you are literally a professional, you've done some sort of professional photography work as a real job. Being a hobbyist and charging is not.
And that doesn't mean like, oh, I shot a couple weddings and I'm a professional photographer because like I shot like 2 weddings. Like, no, it's not.
That's called freelance work.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, that's fine. But that's getting into
I
it
do
too.
want to touch on something important though that Felix said. Like, he said that he learned from negative experiences to become like a better like person, I guess. I just think that's a really important thing to like emphasize, because a lot of people just communicate like really, if something bad happens or if they think they suck, they get really down on themselves and then they think that they can't do it. So I think it's important to emphasize that like one of the best ways you can grow and learn as a person is experiencing those bad things. Because like I know part of the reason I got into photography are similar to what Felix said, is like I was either not receiving photos back from photographers or I was getting turned down by people because I wasn't famous enough to be shot. So I was like, okay, well, I want to stop this like shitty way of thinking and just do it myself. So, yeah. Yay, Felix!
Okay. I feel like this question can't have like anything dramatic attached to it, so that's good. What's one cosplay that you've always wanted to shoot?
I really love really old school clamp stuff, so I really, really want to shoot Chobits and Magic Knight Ray Earth someday.
It's funny to me to think about it because when you say Chobits, like my mind just goes back to like 2009 when like I swear to God you turn a corner and there was a Chobits cosplayer at like every con, and my mind's just like, oh man, there used to be so many freaking Chobits cosplayers. They were everywhere, and now it's like pretty rare. It's just funny to think about. Okay.
Please remake Clamp. Please remake.
Yeah.
And my final question: give us one piece of advice that you give to photographers, either beginners or otherwise.
I'll give 3, but I'll make it really fast.
No, we're gonna have to cut you off, Felix.
Oh no. So if you want to get better at taking photos, the biggest thing that helps me out is seek out a photographer you respect and ask if you can assist in the shoot. But don't just assist, actually like ask questions before the shoot, after the shoot, actually pay attention to the process that's going on, like in relation to the lighting, the photographer, the cosplayer. I learned a lot personally from assisting a live elf a lot. If people know his work,
What? I don't want to assist Elf.
I know,
Fuck.
right? I'd be like,
I gotta be like, can I assist you during anime? Thank you. Damn, that's such a good idea. I mean, it's funny because I've done that before, but I never thought of even bringing that up in the cosplay photography community for some reason.
And then, if you want to get better at editing, there's already so many resources online. YouTube free online class, ebooks, Andrew streams, Kaze photography streams, and then I also learned a lot from surprisingly Instagram stories like Miss Mallow streams, or Miss Mallow does a lot of informational Instagram stories. Alive Elf, and then Sarah does too.
I want to do more of those, but I'm so freaking lazy when it comes to it. I'm just like, it's more work.
Kind of fun, but
I don't want to. I want to, but I don't want to.
Not that long. I literally just do threads now, but it's just easier.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's hard. I'm just saying I'm lazy, Sarah. Like,
and clearly, it takes me 20 minutes, so to type it up.
And then, last piece of advice is the people you choose to cosplay with or become photography buds with really impacts how you're gonna develop. So if you hang out with like toxic cosplayers, toxic photographers, you're not gonna have a fun time, and then you might take on some of those toxic like habits or mentality. So try to seek out good people and try to avoid like toxic people, because you'll be less jaded overall, and try to double down on more positive role models.
Some solid advice from FX Dandy.
We stand FX Dandy forever. These are great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that answer, Felix. Okay, with that, let's do this standard housekeeping bullshit. This is pretty much the same as always, so repeating the spiel. As Sarah dies. Rest in peace, Sarah. So, as always, if you have someone that you would like to see on the show, please let us know about them. We can't have everyone on, and for various reasons, but we'd always love to hear your suggestions. So I posted the link to that in the chat. If you are interested in seeing someone on, please let us know. Excuse me. Also, chat, please critique along with us as we go. That makes the stream so much more interesting for us. I think it just makes everything more fun. So we'll be looking over at chat and trying to see some of your thoughts and integrate them into the critique. We'll probably miss some, but in general, please critique along with us because it makes things awesome. Excuse me. As always, if you're enjoying the show, please consider either giving a donation, which is an incredible thing, and we greatly appreciate it, or consider subbing, which is also, it's a smaller thing, but also equally amazing. Like by no means do I consider them an obligation, but they do help a lot. Also, if you have Amazon Prime, that means you have Twitch Prime, which means you have one free sub a month to give to the streamer of your choice. And if you have Amazon Prime and you haven't given your Twitch Prime sub, thank you, FX Dandy. Thank you so much for that Twitch Prime sub. That person must be so wonderful. Oh my God, Sarah, you're probably set for your next one. You should do it now too.
Do I have to redo it every time?
Yeah, you have to redo it every month.
Oh.
Jen is here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you so much for that Twitch Prime sub. Seriously though, those help a lot. Yeah, thank you so much for doing it once again. By no means an obligation, but your support helps a lot and helps us continue this. So thank you so much to those of you who do. Kaze Mike, thank you so much for that 6 months in a row for the Twitch Prime sub. Hell yeah, my dude. It's almost like you're trying to do that so that we won't keep on asking you to be on the show, but
I'm still gonna ask.
But we're still gonna keep on asking you to be on. Other people, everyone should bother Kaze Photography to be on the show, because like he should be on. We keep on asking him, and he's like, yeah, maybe someday in the next universe or something. Like when I'm like 57, I'll be on.
You can't use that you can't stream because you stream now, so
I don't know. Maybe I don't feel like I'm good enough yet or something. Like I'll have to turn like 82 before I can be on the show. Then I'll be good enough.
We're assholes. It's fine.
Yeah. No, we love you. We love you, Mike. But also we want you to be on. Kind of going. Final piece of housekeeping that I like to share is we are not, as kind of going off of what Felix said, is none of us consider ourselves professional. Our work isn't perfect, and we are sharing opinions here. So don't take what our critiques are as law. Like, once again, they're opinion based on our own tastes and thoughts on photography. So if you have your own viewpoints and you don't agree with what we said, that's totally fine and it's totally valid. So yeah, I just feel like I want to try and re-say that up front most of the time, just to be clear with people that, like, sometimes I feel like we sound really like we're coming from this place of like super confidence and like authority when we're talking here, but that doesn't, it's all opinion, guys, especially like in this world of art. So if we have a lot of negative things, just try to take the positive from it and don't dwell on it too hard, because our goal here is not to tear anyone down, but really just to help people out. That's our goal here. Nothing more than trying to help everyone out. Because Sarah just almost spits out her drink from the Danny Kaze's Danny.
Oh my
emote.
God, it's so funny.
Also, wanted to say, because Twitch just allowed this, I actually have one new sub emote that I can create for subscribers. I'm trying to think about what it could be.
Wait, what did we say last time?
Oki Cosplay brought up one that I think is amazing, which is an iron for every time we bring up digital ironing, which I think is great. But I'm open to other suggestions. If you guys have any other suggestions of what the new emote I should make should be.
Did you Danny's face?
Yeah. So.
Oh my God.
So let me know if you have any suggestions there. I kind of also want to make one of like Sarah like making a face, because Lord knows that would be great.
Yeah, like from Ivan's Candid.
Yeah.
No, I need to resubscribe.
Yeah, come on, subscribe, Sarah. Hold on here. I forgot that I need to share the album on Flickr. So there was a couple. Thank you so much, Sorairo-Days, for subscribing. So let me pull this up for everybody. If I can go to my freaking Flickr and share this, please. So there's a couple people who submitted after we'd hit the full capacity. So a couple people's photos will not be until the next critique. That said, I have all the photos on Flickr. So if you want to look at them while we're going along, that way also you can see whose photos are going to be in it. So if you have any question as to whether your photo is in the critique, check out that Flickr link there. And let's get into these photos, guys. Let's see here. So, Sarah, why don't you start us off?
Cool.
It's a photo from Kelvin Sai. He submitted a couple times.
Love these colors. So right off the bat, I really like the composition of this photo, and I'm pretty sure it's 16:9 crop, which is cool.
Yes, it is.
I really like how he utilized the columns to create like lots of interesting lines in this photo. I think that's really cool. And I like the looks like it was shot like a little bit past golden hour. I forgot what that's called. Like,
blue hour.
Call it, like blue hour.
Yeah.
You don't see that a lot, so that's pretty nice. I do think it's the one thing I'm kind of sad is, and I don't know if it's just like it's like a low quality file, but it looks like it's not in focus, so that's kind of a shame. But other than that, I really like the colors that he chose to work with. Like the blues and the shadows are really nice, and I love like how it like goes against like the gold and the red. Like something I've been talking about a lot recently in like some of my photo walkthroughs is that I like utilizing like complementary color palettes, color schemes, whatever you want to call it. And I think he did a really good job, like melting like the oranges and yellows with like the blues of the shadows. So that's yeah, those are my initial thoughts.
I really like the color palette in this. Kind of like the almost like purples and oranges are like really good.
Like moody in a different way.
I was gonna see if I could look up when this was shot, time wise. This was shot 35 millimeters, f 1.4 80th of a second, ISO 1600. So that's probably.
I think this is Hall Matte.
I think it's Hall Matte too.
I was gonna say leave it to Felix to know the.
Also, Mike shot at this a lot. That's the only reason I recognize.
Yeah, this looks like. I don't know. That can't be right. I'm like trying to deduce what time this is. It looks like this was shot at 10:43 p.m., but I'm like, that can't be right. I think the clock in this in the camera might be wrong.
No way.
I don't think this was shot at 10:43 p.m. That's probably wrong.
If he clearly didn't use any lights, there's just no way.
Yeah.
Or something's fucking with us. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean. That there's a very real possibility that it is that, then it is somehow lit, but I don't think that's the case. I think there's enough light coming from like the non-lit area from the right of the photo, that I think it still is like enough light to cause that natural light. The only thing I really feel like that's getting me in this photo is the brightness on the right side of the like upper right corner. Like I would just tone that down a little bit, like especially in like the one section that like is past the rightmost column. Like it just kind of like draws my eyes to that corner, which I'm not particularly huge on. So I think if you just tone down those specific highlights, I think I'd really love this photo. Trying to think if there's anything else. Felix, got any thoughts?
Oh yeah. So I really love the color grading on the cosplayer itself, like the armor, the reds. I'm really digging it. I really like how you were able to get the sky and the water in there too. I think that's really cool. I think, yeah, I agree with Andrew that the orange is a bit overpowering. It like distracts me from the cosplayer itself. Like, oh, what's over there? It's like bright orange.
It is a bit saturated, yeah.
Yeah, it is. I
think something I would have done with the photo too is I I think the clouds could have been bought out a little bit more, maybe with like a highlight brush, and then like I'm not sure if I would have framed it differently because when I look at the photo, I'm not too interested in the gazebo. I like the cosplayer and the water in the sky, and the very small amounts of greenery. But that's me.
So, a couple thoughts. I liked Eric Jaw's comment in the chat. He said that the column on the right doesn't match the other columns color-wise, and yeah, that does. Like when you think about it, you're like, okay, that's a little weird.
I didn't even notice it honestly, but now it's like it's all I see.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's interesting how it did that.
Yeah, because I don't think that's I mean, I don't think it's a color grading side effect. I think that just is probably something that happened naturally with the light, because there's obviously like artificial light coming from the left, and natural light coming from the right, and maybe that's just kind of the mixing of those two.
I'm also not sure if it's just the time of day, but like the eyeballs are like the same color as the skin tone, so I'm just kind of like
yeah, it's a little hard.
Not sure how that affects.
So something I always say in these kind of shots is something personally I'm not a big fan of, unless there's a very specific reason to do it, is when you have a wide shot and you have not even a wide shot, any shot really, where the cosplayer is on the right third of the photo and is looking to the right.
Looking off.
Generally speaking, if you're composing the cosplayer on the right third, they should be looking towards the camera or to the left, not to the right, because that kind of like sends your eye out of the frame, and like you just end up like the vision ends up going straight out of the frame instead of like back into it. I kind of know why, because like the lighting in the shot is like that nice softer lighting is coming from the right, so this way you have that nice light come onto the cosplayer. So that makes sense to me, but I think the composition needs to change a little bit to make that work well.
Fluffy Fox said apparently, I don't know where, about like cropping it kind of where the foreground pillar is, because when you look at it on the Twitch stream, I actually like that composition or that crop better.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
As much as I like, 16:9 crops, and I actually do, even though they are a little saturated, even though I really like the gold color on the left, it's not really adding anything to the photo. If anything, it's more of a distraction. So I agree. I do think not doing the 16:9 crop and getting it a little closer in help like makes this stronger. It also helps with the whole like her looking off to the right, like you're not trailing along the photo as long and then crop it in.
Yeah, I also think there is a bit of a missed opportunity pose wise, having the sword straight up and down, kind of like the figure of the cosplayer is this very straight line, and only the arm breaks up that kind of like straight, like kind of box that the cosplayer is living in. Because like if you look at the shape here, let me screen share here. So if you kind of look at the shape like of the cosplayer's filling, it's really just a square box with only like the arm really providing anything that's coming out of that. So if you had like, gosh darn it, if you had the sword coming off at like an angle, you could just create a bit more dynamic of a pose. One thing I do want to bring up is just kind of to clarify what I mean by this, like because both Kanmam and Mallow say that they like where she's looking. I don't particularly have a problem that the cosplayer is looking off into the distance. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with it. in particular, I think it's with the composition, because naturally your eyes follow along with the way the location of where the cosplayer is, or any subject is looking. That's just like a compositional thing. Your mind wants to follow along the where the vision of the cosplayer. You want to look at where they're looking. And when
I want to put this in context of like a magazine, because I think this is where it makes the most sense. Because I know what you're talking about, Andrew, because this is like a very common thing with like editorial layout. So let's say this photo, for example, was on the left page. That is okay because she's leading her eye for you to go on to the right page of the magazine. But because we're staring at this photo by itself, you're not really benefiting by following her line of sight. So like, while I don't mind where she's looking, it is usually it's better to have like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, because it brings you
like, yeah. I wouldn't. If she was, let's say if this photo was in a magazine and it was on the right side of a spread, that's bad because it's leading you off to nowhere else in the magazine.
Yeah.
You literally, I mean, I guess it forces you to turn the page, but like directional of where the person is looking is so important in like editorial layout that it also should be applied. And like, even though we're looking at like static images by themselves, like it's hard because I like where she's looking, but principle wise, in terms of like design, it's not super strong.
Yeah, I do agree to disagree. Mallow still likes the how it says it doesn't hurt the composition. I very much disagree that it doesn't hurt the composition, but
we're also saying the composition is kind of weak. So.
Yeah. As a this Mal says, this is a portrait alone. The direction of where they look is irrelevant. I couldn't disagree more. Like, I literally just am trying to say that, like, as humans, you process where someone's looking, and you want to read that into the composition so that your eye flows through a photo. Like, compositionally, it's super important where the subject is looking. So I'm not sure where you're going with that, Mello. Maybe I'm not understanding, but I think where a subject is looking in a photo.
I think we can all just for this photo, we can agree to disagree.
Yeah, because for me, I'm like having the subject look out has me leaving the frame. Am I saying it would make more sense for them to be looking to the left? Compositionally, yes. Contextually, no. So I'm only arguing compositionally that it would make more sense for her to be looking to the left. So hopefully that makes more sense. Okay, you guys got any final thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
No.
Cool. Okay, let's go on to the next one. This one is from Great Unknown Studios. And Felix, you want to lead us off here?
Yeah, sure.
Let me grab the link for the Flickr link for everyone.
So I personally like the framing of this portrait, and I'm really digging the choice of blues. It's kind of like it's like a blue, but it's bordering into teal. Mm-hmm. I like it. I'm not a fan of the bokeh placement though. I really do like how the photo is. It's like a painting almost.
Yeah, it's very painterly. It's very cool.
Yeah.
I agree with you on the bokeh, though.
Yeah, I think it would annoy me less if like the bokeh balls were like more throughout the frame, but just because they're like right next to the face.
Yeah, I think behind her head would have been cool too.
Yeah, like if it was more consistently across the frame, I think it could maybe have worked.
Yeah, I really like the expression of the cosplayer too. I really like the photo overall.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you two have your take on this.
Sarah?
Oh, sorry, I'm responding to.
Okay.
No, I think this shot is like really beautiful. I almost thought it was like a painting at first when I first saw it, and I always love when people are able to like apply that kind of editing that it makes you think it's something else. I want to note that the skin retouching on this is really good. And I commend them for that because especially with this kind of heavy makeup, that's like really hard to do. At least in my opinion, it is. So I think they did a really nice job touching up the cosplayer's face. I don't know. This really strong. I really enjoy headshots when it comes to cosplay photography, which is what I was kind of just responding to Con Mom about right now. But I feel like you don't see them a lot because a lot of the times people want obviously the focus to be on like their entire costume. But I think like so much is being told here with just this headshot. I don't know. I'm not sure what this is from. Does anyone know?
Yeah, is it Senua's Sacrifice? Is that the game? Am I thinking of the right thing? Chat, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, regardless, I don't know who she's supposed to be or where she's from, but all I get from this is that she is like some really badass female character, and I think like her positioning and like how her eyes are reading really tells that story. What's the character in her medieval? Anyway.
Yeah, I agree that oh sweet, I was right. Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. I just missed the start of that.
Is this a badass character? It has to be. I'll be really surprised if it's not.
What ISO was this shot on?
So that's something I was gonna get at because I think like the settings to me are a little funky for this shot. So this is shot A7R2 at a 85 millimeter 1.8 1/500th of a second ISO 3200. So to me, something I feel like the shot feels like it was missed focus. Like the eye's pretty darn blurry in this shot. At first, I actually thought it was motion blur, but seeing that it's at 1/500th of a second, that sure as shit ain't motion blur. So I just would, especially with a headshot like this, you really want to make sure the eye's in focus. I'll screen share it here so that you guys can see kind of like in chat. It really does feel like that the focus was missed a little bit. Also to me, I go, if you're shooting at a headshot at 1.8 at 85 millimeters, you certainly don't need 1/500th of a second. There's like no motion that you're trying to capture here. Personally, I would turn down your shutter speed a little bit so that you can save yourself on the ISO a little bit, because the photo, I think it's also been over sharpened a little bit, but it's pretty grainy. And I think you could just have like a cleaner shot if you just balanced out your exposure triangle a little bit better. Take down that shutter speed a little bit, take down the ISO a little bit, and bing, bam, boom. Perfect. Or even if you want to keep those the same, bring down the shutter speed. And I kind of feel like we all agreed that the bokeh wasn't necessarily the strongest part of this shot. You could maybe up the f-stop and really have like a really sharp headshot, like shoot this at like f4 and just have this really sharp, and that could also work really well for this photo.
I think that might lose its like painting look though if it was shot at f4.
I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, I think so much of that is from the color grading. But maybe you're right though. I don't know.
No, I think because I kind of really like all the noise texture that's there, because I think that is adding to like. I think if it would have been like really crisp, I don't think I would like it as much.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard. I would say it's hard to say. I would have to see it that way to really know. But either way, I do feel like I want it more. I want at least the focus to be nailed.
Striking shot though.
Yeah. No. The lighting on the cosplayer is fairly interesting. It's interesting because it feel like it was working with fairly hard lighting. Like you can tell like the light coming off of like the headpiece, you're getting that hard line. And like all things said, usually hard lighting is like terrible for headshots, But yeah, this works really well. So like props on making that work.
Right. Dash made an interesting comment that this would look good as a black and white photo, and I totally agree. I think this would look really good as a black and white.
I will agree with a slight stipulation. I think this would be a awesome black and white with just a tint of cross processing put on top of it.
Yeah.
So like,
oh, that would look really cool.
Yeah. So like just a little bit of blues in the shadow and like maybe a little bit of oranges in the highlights. I think that would be
kind of like that monochromatic look. Oh, that looks so cool.
Yeah. Overall, though, I really dig this. This is one where like the shadows have been lifted a ton, but it works really well. It's like it helps with that painter, as we've said, painterly vibe of this photo. Okay. Any other thoughts on this one before? Oh man. Hold on, gotta mute this so you guys don't hear freaking Facebook notifications during the stream, because that's all what you want, right? Well, you won, Sarah, because you're not getting that audio. But there we go. Okay, fixed. At least I think they would have heard my Facebook notification. But okay. I am going to move on to the next shot here. And this next one is from Chris. Let me grab that flicker.
This is so creepy.
I knew you were going to say that as soon as this one came up, Sarah. Okay, here's a flicker for you guys. Pull this up so that I can actually talk about it.
Did you purposely give this one to Sarah?
No. This one's me. This one's me.
Oh,
no. I don't actually choose who starts. It really is just like there's a trade-off order and based on submitting. So it's not like I'm picking any specific person to start a specific photo. Just so that's out there. It's totally random. I freaking love the colors in the shot. I love how creepy it is. I love how the photographer decided, like, hey, lighting from below is terrible and ugly for most people, but because this is creepy, let's do it, and is freaking awesome. I really, really dig that like orange glow from below. It really plays off of kind of those like the poison vial things on his hand there. I feel like I love how crisply the texture was captured in this shot.
That mask is insane.
Yeah, that mask is really, really creepy and lovely. Like the texture in it is great. I personally I'm someone who loves texture in photos.
What is this shot at?
I'll pull that up. And man,
it's just so sharp. I just want to know.
Let's see. Let's get those deets. It's just shot at everyone's shooting on Sony A7R3. 85 millimeters. This is the exact same setup as the last shot so far. F1.8. Yep.
Really? Wow. Very sharp.
ISO 320 at 1/60th of a second.
Damn, they shot this at 1/60th of a second.
Yeah, apparently.
Wow.
So couple other things I want to dig into this photo. I know I've talked about the lighting below, but another thing I really love on this shot is on the right side of the photo, like on the shoulder and the side of like kind of the hood area. The way that blue is coming into the highlights and kind of balancing with the other side of the face with the orange in the highlights. Those blue highlights are so good. I really, really dig them. I think that's like one of the like those things where I'm just like just the way the light's rendering off of that is really awesome, and I really dig. I'll get into kind of things that I feel are a little nitpicky. I'm not sure how I feel about the contacts being able to see kind of like they're the like whiteout contacts. And they give a great look to the eye. I don't know how I feel about being able to tell that there's contacts in though. Like I can clearly see where the contact is and where the hole for the pupil is. It's hard because I want to see it like
Oh.
it does make it feel a little bit more like, oh, this is a cosplay shot. I'd like to see it with it photoshopped out. The only thing that I worry about with it photoshopped out is that because you lose the pupil, you might not be able to tell where they're looking, which might not work very well.
Yeah, actually, I have a photo that I took at KatsuCon where the guy is also wearing these kinds of contacts, and I haven't edited it yet, but I was thinking the same thing. I was like, is this an instance where I should like, like smooth it all out, or do you keep it like as is, because then you'll have no, like you said, like reference for like where the eyeball like actually is. No.
Yeah, no, it's hard because like I that would be my worry.
I'd have to see it. I'd have to see it honestly. It's one of those things like you have to have like one version where it's not edited out, and then one version where it is smoothed out. I think it's just hard to tell.
I think the biggest thing is maybe if you keep the like the pupil, it could work, but if you got rid of the edge of it, it might help. The only thing that I feel like I dislike about this photo though is the background. It feels a little bright, especially given kind of the mood and the feel of the character. It just feels like. Go ahead.
I think you should finish your thought.
Okay. And it just feels like, like a random fence, kind of like maybe there was light shot through a fence. I don't know. It's just like this weird, like cross-hatched texture in the background, and just feels a little bit bright. And like there's on the very left side, there's that white, like bright white part, and then the dark part, which kind of just feels like it adds like a weird edge to the frame that I'm not a big fan of, but it's overall I still really dig the shot.
I think I actually disagree with you on that, because it, like, the background, it really reminds me, because I played the Arkham Asylum game. It really reminds me of that time where you're like Batman and you're trying to solve the puzzle. Like there's enough mystery of it. It I know it's only a little bit, but it still reminds me of like that setting where it's like those dimly fluorescent lights that keep dimming on and off, that sort of thing. It reminds me of the game. So I personally like the background actually. But I know where you're coming from.
So okay, let me add a bit more to that. I think it could work better. I still don't know if I'd really love it, but let me screen share this so I can talk about it a little bit better. So we've got this very bright area here, and then followed by you've got this dark kind of like edge here. I think if the background were like a consistent like if the background were like just this section across that entire span, I think it could potentially work even better. But
yeah, honestly, I was gonna recommend just like pointing out that dark part.
Okay.
Yeah, it just feels a little weird where you've got like this like artificial like edge coming into the background. Like it feels like it's kind of framing the shot a little odd. And then I just don't know why the hell this is so bright. I can draw circles, I swear. Oops. Stop screen sharing. There we go. Yeah. I think that's everything.
All right.
Okay, you guys got any other thoughts on this one?
I really like the photo. I
Yeah,
think
it's pretty stellar.
I don't think it would have hurt this photo if it was shot at maybe like 2.8, just to show a little bit more detail. I think there would still be enough like
Okay.
blurb, like bokeh.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's like kind of weird where it's like I want to see more of like the jaw and teeth area, but it's like it's blurred out. I think shooting this at 2p, I don't know the lighting conditions, but 2.8 would have been. I think it would have made the photo stronger. Other than that, I love the photo.
Yeah, no.
I also really.
Go ahead.
Oh.
I talked like. Go ahead, Sarah.
I was gonna say I really I like that they took like an unexpected like editing approach to it. Like I feel like if I got a photo like this, I would have automatically gone for like the dark and grungy look, but they went for this like more pastel look, which I think is pretty interesting, and it works really well.
Yeah, I think that's part of what pleasantly surprises me about this photo is that it's not a area that I would have remotely taken this shot.
Not at all. But I think it just goes to show that like just because you've shot a certain type of cosplay or subject, it doesn't mean it needs to be edited that way. You know?
Yeah.
I think sometimes we get in that mindset, and it's hard to honestly like not be in that mindset. But this is a perfect example of something that's like really spooky and creepy, but we have freaking like pastel teal in the background, but it works really well.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
So I did a super sloppy job so that I could show this real quick because I was curious. Let me finish it up so I was curious as what it would look like if I don't know what I was doing. If I photoshopped out the edge of the contacts, and I actually think that solves a lot of my problem with the eyeball. And it makes it actually even creepier looking. So if I go to like opening the photo.
Oh my god, that's so weird.
Yeah, so if you just Photoshop out the edge of the contacts.
Yeah, that's cool.
It looks even like to me it like just sells that creepiness even more, and that like I did a sloppy job and spent like 30 seconds on it. So like
it's what my friend Joe Schmo Cosplay says all the time. It's like bringing that fantasy like full circle. Like if you're gonna be creepy, like just do it.
Yeah. So yeah,
I think that helped a lot actually.
Yeah, no, it honestly like it took up the creep. It's amazing how that little bit like made it even creepier because it took off the context of like, oh, that's a cosplayer wearing contacts. Now it doesn't look like contacts anymore. It looks like, oh, that's fucking creepy, man.
Yeah, it's like, oh, their eyeballs are fucked. Cool.
Yeah, and the great news about how this shot was done is you actually only need to do it for one eye.
Yeah, right? Oh my god, so true.
That's great. I love that when you're just like, oh man, and there's only one eyeball showing in this shot, so I only have to retouch one of them. Hell yes.
Hell yeah.
Okay, with that, let's move on to the next photo. This one is from Athel. Hell yeah. Hi, Athel. Hopefully he's in chat somewhere.
Athel.
Sarah, do you want to lead us off here?
Yeah. First of all, okay, so what I found really striking about this photo is how it's edited. Like, I mean, I know it's at the gazebo. Everyone knows this is the gazebo, but I like how if you didn't know that the gazebo existed at Katsucon, you would not think that from it. Just the way that it's edited. I like how he has like that, like the faded look. Because the lighting in that area is the natural light is just so beautiful, and I feel like the way you edit photos when you shoot there, it's like you know where it is, but the way that he's edited it makes me think that we're somewhere else, which is cool. I know this is like a duck jangle. I'll let Andrew talk about that, but I do appreciate that he took a different approach to it. Like I haven't seen a lot of photos shot like from this angle before, so I think it's nice that he took a place that is usually like everyone fucking shoots at and made it different. So that's really nice. Like I said, the colors are beautiful. I love these like muted like blue greens contrast with like the red. I think that's stunning. And the white, I love the stark white. That's really beautiful. The one thing that really bothers me though is is how she's holding the bow, the arrow. Like she's literally she's suffocating it. That's just not proper form at all. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with props. Is it's a shame because where she's holding, where she's drawing. She couldn't draw it back all the way. Obviously, that's fine. But at least where her hand drawing back is in the right position. But the way she's just gripping the bow and the arrow on the front is so not. It's just not great.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was kind of a haul shot or if this was a shoot, but regardless, I would still take 5 seconds to look up how a bow and arrow is held. Only because it is. I think the other problem is it's so much in the forefront that it's really obvious. I think if this was a wider shot and that focus wasn't in the front as much as it is now, I don't think it would be as much of a problem. But yeah, that's my main gripe with this photo is the way she's holding her prop. I'm sorry, Ethel.
Ethel says this was a haul shot and the foliage is cloned. That's a really great job on the foliage cloning because it doesn't read as cloned as at all. And it just really makes this feel fresh and unique. And I was like, wow, I didn't know if you shot this at this angle, you'd get that much foliage. Well, turns out you don't. And it was just effort. So props on that one.
I love the choice of greens and reds. And the gazebo itself, I know a lot of pictures, even myself, I have trouble getting rid of the yellow tint in gazebo photos. So this is probably the cleanest white I've seen on a gazebo photo.
Desaturate those yellows, Felix.
Color grading in this shot is top notch.
It's also really different from what I think I'm used to seeing from Ethel, so I think that's really
the lighting is wonderful in this shot. The eyes are just lovely.
That catchlight is
other things, the skin retouch,
clutch.
That's great. And there was something else I was gonna say, but my mind is a steel trap. Because I should have known because I'm thinking about adding an emote for it. So we'll switch over to the couple of things that I'm not a big fan of in the shot. One, if you're gonna spend all that time cloning, just spend a second digitally ironing. She's got some weird creases going on in a bit of her sleeve. I just clean those up a little bit. Everything else is draping really nicely, but there's just that section in the middle of her sleeve. I would just kind of smooth those out. Composition. Actually, I'll talk about pose first. Sarah brought up the kind of how the bow is being held. Yes, absolutely. I won't dig into that anymore. Sarah pretty much said everything I was gonna say. The thing that I would say is even in regards, let's say that her pose or for holding the bow was perfect. I think if you're going to shoot someone shooting a bow, one, if you're going to shoot on the side that their arm is sticking out on, one, you want to come in at a higher angle and maybe a little bit closer, straighter on, so that you don't get all I'm doing all this motion and hand talking, you can see it but you can't. Shoot it in a way so that you're not just getting a bunch of arm in the shot, because so much of her body in this shot is being covered by her arm. So ideally you'd want to actually shoot it on the other side so you don't actually have this problem per se. So that's pose wise, just we're getting so much arm in the photo and not I really can't see if there's much details on the torso of her cosplay. And I just wish that we could be able to see more of it. just other thing, I said I wouldn't dwell on it, but one thing to note with arms for bow is just make sure that like I think a lot of the general reaction is to like for the arm that goes out to lock it. You still want like a little bit of bend in that arm. So like right now it feels super straight. You still want a little bit of bend in the arm. The other thing, composition. Something that I particularly am not a fan of, and you're thinking I'm gonna say Dutch angle here, but I'm not. Is when you have the head, the center subject of the frame, in the very, very center of the shot. So right now her head is like almost dead center in the frame. And it's kind of killing me. I think if you like I kind of feel like if you shoot this a little bit lower, so that way you could have her head like maybe a bit more up towards the top third of the photo, this could work. I know why you did this, because like right now you've got the bow pointing out to the corner of the frame, which for the most part I think is an interesting compositional element. Like I always say, like if you're gonna do a Dutch angle, have a reason to do a Dutch angle. And here is your reason. You have the bow pointing out of the corner of the frame. I think that's kind of interesting. I think maybe if you shot this a little wider and got in a little bit closer so that that angle was even more dynamic, I think that could work better. But like, I appreciate why the Dutch angle was included in this photo. I just think compositionally, with her head being in the center of the frame, I'm just not feeling the composition of the shot really at all. And that, like, the rest of it makes up for it, like to some extent, because like color grading, lighting, retouching are just freaking wonderful. So that there's a lot of positives going for this shot, but to me that the composition just needs a bit more work.
That being said, though, for a haul shot, pretty stellar.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Another good example of just because we're throwing the term like haul shot out there, that it doesn't have to look like a haul shot.
This is an elevated haul shot. That's yeah.
Well, people are of the mindset it's a haul shot, it's a quick edit. Like no, not
no. You can do whatever you want with the haul shot.
Yeah,
Haul shot
so
to me, all haul shot means was I did not have a scheduled shoot with you set up. I met you in the hall and decided to say, "Hey, do you want to shoot?" And then we took some awesome photos.
30 seconds of your time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you pull them aside and say, "Can I have 30 seconds of your time to talk about Jesus? I mean, take your photo."
No.
Sorry.
Moving on.
Okay. With that awkward transition, let's move on to the next photo. Unless you guys have anything else to say on this one. I'll take that silence as a no. Okay, let's move on to the next shot. This one is from our last guest, Conmom Photography. And worked out perfectly, so our current guest is going to start off critiquing our last guest. Felix, do you want to start us off on this one?
This photo is lit.
Just like that's your entire critique. Just be like, my work here's done.
I love the choice of setting. I haven't seen the show, Sarah. But it looks like Deku is in some sort of tournament. Like, you know, like how in DBZ Yu Yu Hakusho they have a tournament. It kind of reminds me of a tournament setting with the fire and the statues in the background. So I really like it. I'm also down with the
sickness.
The pose. It's very actiony. The only thing that bugs me about the photo is I feel like the greens and the reds on the cosplayer looks very faded out compared to the background. But other than that, dope photo.
Pasted the wrong link in the chat. Whoops, I suck. I pasted a link that no one else
Trying not to show.
can see.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, I'm just like, whoops, I pasted my personal link, not the Flickr link. Whoops, I suck.
Can we talk about where this was shot? Is that fire in the background? I don't know if you mentioned it while I was getting cough dropped, but
I feel like it fucking looks like it, and looks freaking cool.
Is this Otaku-thon or is this a location shoot?
Yeah, I was about to say Otaku-thon because I recognize that rainbow glass in the background. Canadian people.
She says, real fire.
And, okay, so now I know. Otaku-thon.
I'm sorry. I'm not with it. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Sarah. Both
I was gonna say I like the because you have the fire in the background, so I do like the added effects of the fire embers. The only thing I can say is I think some of them should have been masked out so they weren't actually because there are a lot of them on not on the cosplayer but in front of them. You know what I'm saying? I think some of them should have been cloned out a little bit, and I also feel like they're a tad bit too sharp. I think I would have added maybe a little bit more of a blur to it, or maybe just have varying sharpnesses. So have one layer where some of them are sharp and then where some of them are
I would agree with that, because to me, part of what weirds me out about them is you only have them at this sharpness level in front there. You don't have them across the photo. If you look at the upper right corner, there's none, and they're not there's none that feel like they're closer from the lens or further away. They all feel like they're pretty much on the same plane. For the
you had real fire.
Yeah, I know, that's awesome. It's funny because I'm gonna talk about something that I like but think could be improved here, which is the pose. I think the pose is pretty solid. I think it's interesting, it's dynamic. However, I wish there was just a bit more tension in the pose. I feel like the arm that's back could be a little bit forward and a bit more forward curled up, and the fist down on the ground. It just feels like it's being, it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of energy being put into the pose. I know that sounds
this was taken 2 years ago,
silly.
apparently.
Oh, well.
Wow.
Solid. And then also, I think it would feel really powerful if the cosplayer had direct eye contact with the camera. I think that would be really neat for this shot. It'd feel super powerful. I'm
confused. Do you think they're not looking at the camera right now?
No, I don't. I think they're
looking. So weird because I totally think that they are.
I feel like they're looking just to the left of the camera. I don't know. Maybe that's me reading it weird. Maybe that's just me.
I feel like they're looking at me.
Let's pull the chat. Let's pull the chat. Is the cosplayer looking right at the camera, or is the cosplayer looking different direction? Let's find out if Andrew's partly wrong or really wrong.
He's fucking crazy.
Is Andrew crazy?
I think the cosplayer's looking at the camera.
Well, there's two for it. Oh, slightly above. Thank God, at least.
Well, I do agree that what Art and Absol said. I think they are slightly looking over Alex's head, just a hair. But other than that, they are looking forward.
I like that Jenny is here. 1, 2, 3, 4 comment. I can see how it could be viewed both ways. Love.
No, stop. It's not one of those times to say something like that.
Save me from my mistakes.
No, Andrew can be wrong. It's fine.
Andrew can be wrong. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty normal.
Anyway, whatever. That's a tiny detail.
It looks like, based on just a majority, that I am wrong. But let's.
We can agree to disagree again.
I don't know. The more I look at it, I can understand. I think the problem here, when I look in closer, I think it's a contact issue. I think it's a drifting contact issue where the like, where sometimes like a contact shifts a little bit, so the pupils the irises and pupils aren't like pointing in the same exact direction. You kind of get like a contact induced lazy eye. And I think that maybe is a bit what's happening here.
That's real life.
Yeah, that's fucking contacts. Have I mentioned ever before that I hate colored contacts on the stream? No, probably never done that, huh? Yeah. Fucking hate colored contacts. Sorry. Strong feelings. Yeah, other than that, I feel like the other big comment that I'd echo from Felix is the greens and reds. I think just like greens feel a bit too like this kind of, I don't know what color to call them. They're a bit yellowy.
It's like the background is more vibrant than the costume. So it's like I want to look at the background more than the cosplayer.
I do agree. I think there's like a color imbalance or something, or saturation. I don't know. I don't really know what the right terminology is.
Riley wants to know why I hate colored contacts.
You've never heard his color contact spiel? That's fucking astounding.
Sarah's just like, God damn it, I have to hear it again.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna zone out. Bye.
Okay, I'll do it real quick. So, there are many reasons. Reason number one is when the pupils don't line up directly with the openings from the colored contacts, you can get really really weird looking eyeballs where like the pupils are like cut off, or like the eyeball, the irises don't look like they're situated right in the eyes. Number two, most of the time they don't look quite real. Number three, they actually don't reflect light out nearly as well. It's pretty easy to change the color of people's eyes in photos, and almost all of the time people's natural eyes are going to reflect light and show up way better than, or create a much better looking eye than with colored contacts. And that way, if you just have to change the color and dodge and burn their eye a little bit, the result's going to be a lot better.
Though, yes, I agree with you. They're easy to change, but that does not mean that the majority of photographers have enough patience to do it. Yeah. I'm lucky to find photographers who will fucking dodge and burn my eyes, or dodge and burn it, or bring out color in contacts at all. So
absolutely. To be clear, this is my opinion, and I will, like, it totally makes sense that cosplayers are going to wear contacts at a con, like of fucking course.
Because I know that like every photographer, except for like you and the few people that I know, are not going to fucking edit my eyes. So, especially Asian eyes that are black holes. So
it's amazing. So here's something that blows me away. My wife also has really, really dark brown eyes. You can still dodge and burn them, and there's a ton of detail, and the light, like there's still that light that goes
in. The majority of photographers who are lazy and can't even dodge and burn light.
Yeah, even people that say they have black hole eyes, oftentimes there's still a ton of detail that gets captured, because modern cameras can still capture so much detail, and you can pop them so much in dodge and burn, and they'll look so good. What I'm trying to say is your eyes are beautiful, guys. Don't hate on them because your eyes are dark, because they're still beautiful. They're still beautiful. Okay, I'm done with that. Sorry, totally went off on that tangent. Okay, back on track. You guys got any thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
I want to see the old edited version, just so I just see. I'm just being lazy. I mean, curious.
Cool. Okay.
I think I'm gonna put Otaku-thon on my list, because now I know it's lit.
Yeah. Damn it, Felix.
Okay, I'll stop.
Felix is gonna be like, I'll mark that in. That's con number 37 for next year.
Con number 50 for 2019. We pray for Felix's soul. It's
all right, let's move on to the next shot. This next one is from Fate Cosplay. Fate with a Y, just to be clear.
By It's not fate.
It's not fate. It's fate. Let me grab that Flickr link for y'all.
Is this the same person who sent us that other garden shot last time? Okay.
Yes.
I was like, wait a minute. I'm having like extreme deja vu.
Deja vu. Q initial D Eurobeat. Once again, I genuinely love the reds in this shot. I actually think so. For context, I actually think that the shot that you sent in for the last critique is a little bit stronger. Not to say that this photo is bad, but I think to me the shot, the greens, the greens, the yellowy greens are what's pulling me out from the reds a little bit. I think you color correct those greens a little bit, and the shot is really interesting.
I wanna touch on the whole complementary color thing again. I think that's an example where it could work, because like red and green, obviously they're complementary colors, but I think because the reds are kind of more in like the pinky blue tone, that like you said, Andrew, like the greens need to be edited more, so they need to have a little more blue in them.
Yeah.
My non-crop, I agree.
Yes. Oh, I just did that, and 16:9 puts her face immediately on the top right third cross section, which is really lovely. So I think this is a perfect candidate for like a 16:9 or 16:10 crop. Other thoughts. I am astonished by the fact I was looking at the this was shot at f8 at 1/10 of a second. And I am stunned at how not blurry this is. This is shot at 50 millimeter on crop sensor. So like around like what, so 75-ish millimeters, and it is not blurry at all, which I'm like, what? That is some steady hands. So props on that. Like maybe
it's on a Sony.
No, it's a D90, Nikon D90. So that,
okay.
There's maybe there was presumably some it's probably kit lens, but one with some image stabilization built in, I would imagine, because if you're shooting at 1/10 at 50 millimeters and getting away with that without any image stabilization, and then you have the steadiest hands I've ever seen. Just like freaking rock solid. Riley in the chat is shook that this is at 1/10 of a second.
Honestly, mood.
My overcaffeinated, anxious coffee hands vibrating. Just, I'm gonna take your photo. I know why the shot was taken at this low angle, to capture those beautiful red Japanese maple leaves. Like they're super awesome. I love the color in them. I don't know if the below angle is the most flattering for the cosplayer. The lighting's pretty solid, but at the same time, I think if you shot from like a higher angle, it would be even more flattering. I just like it's probably hard to shoot this angle or shoot at the angle that would be most flattering, and also get those leaves in there. I think that's probably the biggest problem. Excuse me. Sorry. You guys got any other thoughts on this one?
I think personally, I would have had the cosplayer step to the left 2 times and made this a vertical, because I feel like the crop is a bit like weird, because it's like part of the dress, part of the skirt, and like half of it is missing.
I could see that.
So I feel like this could have been taken like maybe like mid thigh up and then a vertical, and that way you'll also like eliminate the right corner of open space, and then you get to see more of the cosplayer.
Yeah, that's solid. I'd agree.
Yeah, I agree, especially because I think the tree on the left isn't doing a lot either.
Yeah,
Just kind of like
the
there.
trunk of the tree is not the most aesthetic part of the shot.
Especially because the tree itself is also pretty flat looking, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well.
If that makes any sense. Yeah, so I agree with Felix. I think this would have been much stronger as a vertical. A lot of the background elements aren't really like enhancing the photo in any kind of way. So the photographer is saying like this is their first time shooting. So that's cool. I'm already impressed because I know when I first shot I was trash. So but just some things to keep in mind is like when you're shooting is what's in the background, is it enhancing the photo at all, or is it just kind of like there is what we call, like you want whatever is in the surrounding environment like help the vision that you're trying to. So just something to keep in mind. I know you're new, so like obviously, I mean we're all still learning, so but that's always a good thing to just kind of keep back of your shooting.
Forgot to mention this earlier, but Riley, thanks for those sweet 10 bits. Thank you. Sorry, I missed that earlier. And with that, we are going to take a short break. However, when we come back, we will be doing our Q&A sections. So, we'll be gone for 5 minutes. During those 5 minutes, we have a task for you, and that's to think up questions to ask us. It can be to any of us. It can be cosplay related. It can be photography related. It can be in general questions, just as long as they're appropriate and somewhat relevant. So just spend some time thinking about what you'd want to ask us. And we will be back in 5 minutes. See you shortly. And we're back. Oh my God, guys, you gave us a lot of questions. Holy shit.
Be back.
Oh God. Let's see. I'm gonna grab some here because there's a lot. Thank you guys so much for asking a ton of interesting ones. I'm sorry if I miss yours because there's a lot here. This first one we're gonna get to from Riley that says, "Oh God, that pasted poorly." When booking a con shoot professionally, aka not casual, spontaneous for fun, what is everyone's preferred average shoot duration as photographers? Does it change per con? I'm keeping that text like that because I don't care to change it.
Whatever, they can deal with
that. Who wants to start off on that?
I'll start.
Okay.
Mine definitely varies on con. So
yeah.
If it's a con that I haven't been to a lot, I tend to have my shoot times be longer. But now that I've gotten more experience and I've attended the same fucking cons every year, I've actually shortened my shoot time to 30 to 45 minutes. Because I've often found that literally within like 15 minutes into, or 15 to 20 minutes into like a 1 hour shoot, I'm just like standing there and we're just kind of like, well, I guess we're done now. This is really awkward. So I think shoot time really depends on your experience as a photographer and how fast you work and if you've gotten what you wanted. Yeah, like I've shortened mine in half, like a year ago, just because I don't know, I got used to where I was shooting. I plan ahead, so I have like shots in mind before I even go to the shoot. So like my work flow just got a lot.
Yeah, it very much depends on like it's a casket. Like it's pretty much exactly what Sarah said, but like also I would say depends on how many photos I'm giving back, because sometimes like I find my sweet spot is 20 minutes, but that's like if I'm doing like four-ish photos back, but like if I do like 45-minute shoots, then I'm going to give more photos back, but then the price is going to be different. So like it all just kind of balances out in kind of expectations. An hour is way too long for me at a con though.
I want to say as a cosplayer, I prefer shorter shoots. I prefer shorter shoots and less return if the quality is going to be higher. If that makes sense.
Felix?
So I would one thing I would base it on is how good is the autofocus on your camera, because that plays a lot into it. Because I recently switched from like a not so great autofocus system to like the best one, so that like I would offer my shoots for my shoots would be 45 minutes, but I still offer 45 minutes, but most of the time I'll shoot for 25 minutes, and then it'll be like, oh, you did great. We actually have enough photos, like way more than enough photos, for me to be able to work on. And I'm like, oh, cool. We can end 15 minutes early or 20 minutes early. And yeah, so I still offer 45 minutes, but we usually finish in 25 minutes. Or back with my old camera, it would take 45 minutes and sometimes longer, depending on like also time of day. Because the worse your autofocus system is, the worse it's gonna do in like high noon scenarios or like really dark dusk scenarios.
That's a good point.
So like your camera autofocus system matters. Also take into account travel distance from location
Yes.
to location.
Yes.
So definitely take that into account as well.
I want to
But
piggyback off of that after you're done.
but yeah, I think for me those be the two main factors. I guess it's also how fast you're able to come up with ideas, because I usually try to I do my own prep work, like, hey, you should come with your own poses and ideas, and I'll bring some of my own as well.
Eric makes
So
a legit
yeah,
comment there too. It also depends how big your group of your shooting is, because if you're shooting like four or more
yes,
people,
yes.
yeah, more time.
So the location thing that you brought up is something I've started asking people in like my Google Doc. Where do they want to shoot, or I make them choose, because then I know, like for Katsucon, like if they want to shoot at like the big hand statues, then I would probably want an hour, because it does take a while to get there, and if you're in a costume that's not that mobile, you need to take into account that mobility issue. So just something interesting that might put into your contract or whatever you do. Ask the cosplayer where they want to shoot. That helps.
Okay. Jen is here. Asks if you could choose a con to shoot at, what would your favorite be and why? I mean, I know what con, if you can call it a con, that I would absolutely love to shoot at, but is like financially totally out of my realm, which is Pixelmania, if you can call that a con.
Same.
But
it's in Europe.
Yeah, I think it's Poland. Either way, either way, it's not in my price range. No, I can't.
Colossal Con.
Honestly,
Colossal Con East or Colossal Ohio.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm a little bit tired of Colossal Con, Ohio, but at the same time, like I still have so much fun shooting there.
Yeah.
It's a little old, but I still end up with some of my favorite photos every time I shoot
You're
there.
guaranteed a good shot out in the fields. Like it's almost impossible to not get a good shot.
So Colossal Con East, my first time. It was my last shoot of the day for Friday. And it was like, let's go to the waterfall. So I was lost with my cosplayer for 40 minutes looking for the waterfall until we actually found it.
Yikes.
But my cosplayer was like, it's okay. It was a fun adventure, like stepping in deer poop and like hiking.
That's real life. It's worth it though. It's really fun. You get some cool photos.
I guess my con-wise, one that I've been to, SakuraCon. It's maybe it's because like it's like maybe I just got lucky, but the flowers are blooming, sakura petals everywhere. Yeah, I really love that location. I really want to see what Otakuthon is all about, because a lot of cosplay photographers say it's like the best thing ever, and I really want to go see it for myself.
I've really only heard that from Con Mom Photography, but I believe her. Next question, another one from Riley, which is, you have a raw image in front of you. What's the first thing you tackle before anything else in terms of editing? It's not great, but whatever.
Exposure and adjusting all that shit. The boring stuff.
Yeah. So my process is in Lightroom, my goal is to get the cleanest, most boring photo possible. which I export, and then I do all the fun stuff in Photoshop. So it's like my goal is to make it the most boring balanced like photo it can be, like where the color accuracy is perfect, because I think Lightroom's tools for color and all that shit are kind of bad, personally for my workflow. But then Photoshop was where everything fun happens, and I have like a pretty solid workflow there, which it's I always make a selection of the subject, and then I do retouching, and then I do dodge and burning, and then I do color. So yeah, that order.
I crop everything first.
I
guess I do that first.
That's interesting. I always crop last. Because
it depends on the situation, actually.
Yeah, because I'm usually like, the biggest thing is I don't want to like regret at the end and be like, ah, shit, I actually liked it more when I cropped it this way. And like, I can't, like, if I've spent all that time editing, I can't like undo the removal of those pixels. So I'd rather spend a little bit of extra time with them in while I edit, and then just crop at the end. Even if I like absolutely know I'm going to crop it. Ardent Absol asks, any tips for manipulating a low light environment?
You're asking the wrong human. Don't shoot. I don't shoot in low light environments.
Yeah, generally speaking, if it's that dark, I'm like, screw it. The biggest thing you can find, I still think, is find where the light direction is coming from. That's the most important. Even if it's low light, chances are you still have some sort of light direction, and you can make a lovely shot and just crank the ISO. Like, most modern cameras, ISO is pretty darn good. Just make sure that like you have enough of a shutter speed to take it and crank the ISO. Like 3200, 6400, you're you're posting to Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be fine. I say that as I like never take my camera over ISO 1600.
Are they talking about the actual environment at the time of the shoot, or are they talking like post processing?
I took it as at the time of the shoot.
Oh, that's a good point. Huh. I guess it could be interpreted both ways, though. Yeah, but I read it as time of shoot.
I feel like we've answered this one before in previous Q&As, so we can keep the answer short here. But this one is from Hi Sarah Noel, which is, whoops, pasted that poorly. Have you seen your editing speed increase over time, and what do you think most contributed to that? I know for both Sarah and I, it is slowed down. Yeah, I'm slower at editing than I used to be. And
I think I'm definitely slower.
Yeah, for me, it's the case of like I just keep like I've become pickier, and like what I look for in a shot is like and editing is more particular, and I spend more time trying to get the color right, and I have more specific techniques I've learned, so I implement all those, so it just kind of adds up, and the time I spent on a single photo just has grown up and up and up.
So they're like some parts of my editing flow have gotten quicker. So like retouching has gotten a lot faster because Andrew helped me with frequency separation, because that used to take me for fucking ever. But in lieu of that, my color grading has gotten a hell of a lot slower because I am getting, like Andrew said, pickier. Yeah, definitely slower now. I like, let's just say if I shot like Felix, I literally would have backlog for the rest.
Oh yeah. I'd say it depends if it's like stuff that I shot before, like Fate or Love Live. It goes a lot faster than new stuff. Just because I guess it's like muscle memory. I've done this set before. I kind of like all the ideas that I can pull from are already there. But yeah, if I shot like Felix, my friend backlog would be insane, and it is insane. It's because I don't.
Felix, you do not know the backlog. You've been shooting for like one. You're in 4 months.
He knows it.
No!
He does 30 shoots a con. Yes! You're wrong, Andrew.
I'll have a backlog off. We'll see who wins this battle, Sarah.
Well, I'm just gonna
I think
eat
no matter who
popcorn.
wins, we all lose.
Pretty much.
Another question we kind of answered already, but I think is worth quickly delving into, especially because it's asked by the lovely Mango Cause. If you had a photo set that, for whatever reason, just did not turn out reflective of your work, would you try and salvage something you're not happy with or refund the cosplayer, assuming it's paid?
I would refund them.
I would try and salvage it, but if I couldn't salvage it, I would refund.
I always I actually double whammy myself, where I'll do my best on it and like, hey, this isn't my best work. If you want a refund, I can totally understand. 2 out of 3 times they didn't want the refund. This is more in my like earlier days when I was like dumb and I tried to shoot at night with like a pretty older camera. So but yeah, that one time I was like, it's like, yeah, you deserve this refund because this isn't like reflective of my usual work.
Yeah, in general, I'd say you eventually reach a point that even like when your work isn't like you're not super happy with it, you can still put out something that's pretty decent and the cosplayer is going to be pretty happy with. So I think that's like, as long as you still have the ability to make the cosplayer happy with the photos, I wouldn't worry too much.
I think we should answer this question from Arisa Fujikawa.
Okay.
You see it?
Yeah, I'll get to that one. I had one copied and pasted already because I think it's but I'll go to that one next. I actually hadn't.
I love juicy questions.
I haven't scrolled down that far, so we'll do that. And there's a couple more, so we'll go over the time a little bit. This one I think can be quick. Is best software for those who can't afford Photoshop. So do what pretty much everyone has done in their life on here, is pirate an old version of Photoshop. I mean, I didn't say anything.
Or a new one.
You can't pirate. No, you can't pirate Cloud. Yeah, you can. It's the Cloud.
Yeah, you can. Oh wait, I should be saying you can.
I don't know. Actually, no, you can't.
I didn't know you could.
Definitely
The
couldn't
FBI
do
is gonna
that.
bust through my
That's
door.
not a thing that you can do.
Alright,
I pay, guys. I pay, but like I pirated it for years. I mean, I didn't do anything like that. But also highly recommend pirating. I mean, what? If you're adverse to that, there's plenty of other software choices. I have not used any of them, so I can't really give a strong recommendation.
I can't say.
I'm
I know
sorry.
I've
been
GIMP, but
yeah. There's another alternative that I can't think of the name of, but I've been using Photoshop for like over a decade now, so like I just don't know. Okay, let's go to this. Arisa Kujikawa. Recently, I had a friend who had to deal with a photographer who does paid shoots but gave crappy quality, and the photographer keeps wanting to take credit of the edits that isn't there. Is there a good way of handling this? Sarah, I feel like you've got some thoughts.
First of all, don't work with that photographer again, because they are not worth your time if you're paying for them and they're giving you shitty photos back. Second, they need to get off their high horse, because if they're making edits that are trying to salvage poorly edited photos, that's not on them. Like, they didn't do it, so they don't deserve credit for something that they didn't do. So honestly, the best thing you can do is just be transparent with the photographer. And honestly, if they just continue to be like an asshole about it, fuck it. I honestly, like, I've dealt with situations like that before, and I end up just not posting the photos. Like, yeah, I paid for it, but like, the stress of dealing with someone like that who clearly isn't getting the hint that they're being shitty is just not worth your time. So I think maybe just try confronting them, be like, hey, like, we took the time and effort to edit these photos. We're still going to credit you as the photographer, but we edited it. So we deserve to say that.
Yeah, I think the weirdest part to me... Sorry, I keep cutting you off. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, like, so if they, after that confrontation, if they decide to still be like, oh, blah, 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 but I deserve credit, like I said, don't post it. It's just not worth
sometimes you just have to cut your losses, and that blows. If the photographer is being a dick,
an asshole,
I'm not necessarily saying you should call them out, because I think the call out posts are sometimes a little ridiculous and over the top.
You love bandwagon culture. Just fucking kidding.
Yeah, just the best thing that you can do is tell your friends, tell people in your community, don't shit talk someone, but be honest about your experience. Like, I think the biggest thing is, like, if you had a bad experience with working with a photographer, be like, don't be like, this person is fucking terrible. Like, be like, yeah, I don't know, I just had a really bad time with them, I wouldn't recommend them. Like, if you can articulate,
or just be aware before you jump into that.
Yeah,
you know?
I think, it's hard because I think, God, our culture's really fucked right now. But I think for whatever reason, if you just say, like, someone sucks, like, and that's it, people are going to be more defensive and believe you less than if you just, like, are nice and articulated about it. But, like, I think that's what you should do, is really just tell people about your experience, be clear, and try and
personally, not online.
Not online. Just share it with people that would potentially be photographer or work with this photographer, and be honest, and try and let the like, you know, even if you do harbor animosity, try and pull that out of it, and, you know, just be honest with them, and I think that is the best way, because generally speaking, like, this person's going to see that less people are going to want to work with them, and sometimes that works. And if the problem there is sometimes people are going to continue to be shitty, and the only way that you can deal with that is by blowing that up. But I don't think that should always be the first step. God, this shit's hard.
I also want to, like, emphasize something, because this happens in the real world too, like, just like with having, like, coworkers and stuff, is like, because I know oftentimes people are like, well, they're my friend, I don't want to be mean. But, like, if someone is charging money and you're paying them and they're not delivering or meeting your expectations, like, yeah, they're your friend, but, like, don't be hesitant to be like, hey, this is, like, kind of shitty of you. You know what I mean? Like, just because they're a friend does not excuse them for not being a professional or working in a professional manner for something that involves.
Yeah.
This actually happened to Mango Cos. She edited.
She's not even here. She's here.
She salvaged the photo and made it all, like, gave it some special sauce, and then the photographer asked for the edits, and then the photographer has 3 tiers, like. He has a master grade tier, and he puts her photo that she edited on the master grade tier on his ad, and I'm like, whoa, that's bogus.
But you didn't even edit it, bro. That's false advertisement.
That, man,
that pisses me
honestly off. So what I will say about that is that I feel like that's a slippery slope, because, like, a little bit, not saying what this photographer did was right even remotely, because that's fucked. But if you're not happy with the photo, and I think if you want to edit it, if you know that you can make it better and you can edit it, like, you need to ask the photographer first and make that understanding clear. I know that's
10,000%.
Yeah, so because, like, I don't know, there's just so much room for, like, shit to go awry there, that it's just best to over communicate and make sure everything is locked down and understood before you move forward. Because, like, a lot of photographers could also take really negatively, even if the photo that they gave you was not very good and you edited it and you genuinely made it better. A lot of photographers would be like, what the fuck are you doing editing my photo? I didn't say you could edit that. Like, that was not part of the deal. And yeah, that can be a whole just other terrible scenario. So just make sure that that you've communicated. Just wanted to get that out there.
Basically, TLDR, be communicative with your photographer. Happy. If they're being annoying, cut your losses. I'm sorry if you lost like $50 to $120. I'm throwing the range up what people charge out there. It's just not worth it. some people just will not listen and just don't realize that they're doing anything wrong. So it sucks, but it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
No call out culture unless they're like a creep.
Yeah, call. Yeah.
No call outs, please.
Yeah, share with people, but don't do call outs, because call outs just lend to this like tea sipping cosplay community, which is fucking not great. Let's see. Let's do some more critiques. That sounds good, right? Okay. Oh, who critiques? Okay, let's I just want to go to sleep. Let's see.
I do want to go to sleep.
Oh, fuck, I want to sleep so bad. Oh, sleep
I'm
sounds so
old,
good.
y'all.
I was up till like okay, I won't go there. That's lame and it'll make me sound really old. Okay.
I mean, I am old, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Hell yeah, old people. High
Anyway.
five. Okay, sorry. This next photo is from Brett Bauer. And Sarah, do you want to lead us off on this one?
I love this photo. I love Roy Mustang. Anyway, okay. Concentrate. So I love the color grading. Okay, so I figured out the theme for this week because we always have a theme. So the theme this week seems to be like blues and oranges and yellows, like as the color palettes, which I think is pretty cool. I love that color combo so much. Yeah, so I really like the editing of this photo. I think the color grading is like super beautiful. So
Very
I also
cinematic.
want to touch on, because I know, yes, it is. I do want to touch on, though, something that we talked about in the first photo that was kind of like a hot topic, and that's like where the cosplayer is looking. So here's an example of the cosplayer looking out of frame, but it's working. So the reason why this works, and again, this is like a really hard concept to explain because it is something that you learn like in design class and like in art school. But the reason why this is working is that yes, he's looking to the left, but there are so many flowing elements to the right, and also like the tilt kind of helps actually in this situation, but it helps lead your eye from the left down to the bottom to the right and off the page. So it helps lead your eye all the way throughout the entire image. My focus isn't on the cosplayer looking out of the frame because he's also looking straight at his hand, which then follows me through his body down to the bottom. So this is an example of like where it works, as opposed to the first photo where it doesn't.
I'll try and do a little bit of a deep dive because I think this is a great photo to do it on. Just for context, there's like one of the best classes I ever took in my life was my 2D design class, where it was essentially all composition, where we never touched a computer, and it was all like random assignments like, hey, you have a permanent marker and a big sheet of paper and you can only draw triangles. You need to make an interesting composition out of that. How do you do that? How do you get the viewer's eye to flow through an image? Like so much of that. And you spend a lot of time learning about how our eyes take in an image and how important it is for our eyes to be flowing through an image. So I think this is a good one for me to screen share and kind of delve into and kind of like highlight why I think this image works really well in this situation. So, first off, our eyes are all inherently drawn to highlight spots in the image. Right now, our biggest areas of contrast where we see bright areas are this hand and his face. So let's either at the hand or the face. I'm going to assume the face because as humans, we generally are drawn to faces. Like that's just our natural kind of instinct is to go to the face. The other thing is our instinct as humans when we look at an image that has a face and eye direction is we want to naturally follow the eyes. So his eyes are looking off this way. So we follow his eyes and then we hit his hand. His hand is the brightest part of the image. It kind of creates this nice focal point. We have this line that allows us to flow back around his hand back into his body. We have nice movement. We've got how this cape is flowing this way. We've got the movement of the embers this way that causes our eyes to kind of like loop back into the image here. And this kind of open space has like a nice negative space that allows our eye to kind of flow back into it. It's a very like how an eye would read this image is really, really nice. I mean, maybe there's some spots where like, you know, our eyes don't genuinely fall into like maybe these areas of the images very much, but overall, like the main focal parts of the image where we should be spending our time, there is a lovely movement of the eye and how genuinely we would read this image. So that's why I think this image works really, really well compositionally. And yeah, I think that was a pretty fine intro to that. If anyone wants me to elaborate more, let me know, but I'll kind of shut up for now because I feel like
I just thought it was important to bring up because it was like it's one of those things where it seems like it's a subjective topic, but it's
yeah. So what I would say is like, let's look at this again. Let's imagine his hand isn't this bright. His hand, instead of being up like this, let's imagine it's down. So his hand's down. It's not lit. We follow his eyes straight out of the image, and that's our natural instinct. We're going to follow that line and we don't connect to anything, and our eye falls out of the image, which is not almost never something you want to do. Like, rules are meant to be broken. There are reasons why you could potentially want to have the viewer's eye leave the image for something like that. Especially like if you have like a set of photos and you're laying them out specifically in a way where you want someone to move on to the next image, something like that. There's reasons to do that, but for the most part, you don't want the viewer's eye to be leaving the photo, and that's why. Yeah. Okay, I'll be done there.
Anyway, I think this photo is super stellar. I love it. I do think the Dutch angle here isn't really doing a whole lot. I don't really understand why it's a Dutch angle, right? But that's kind of like one of my qualms.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was a Dutch angle or if it was accidentally on tilt.
Is that not the same?
I think that the end result for the viewer ends up the same way.
I was like, Felix, what does that even mean?
Yeah. Let's get those Dutch angle emotes in there.
I don't think it was on purpose. A Dutch. Well, I mean, if they're in chat,
I don't know. I think it. I gotta imagine that it was on purpose. Like I just.
I was shot like that. Like, I don't think it was cropped to like.
Sorry if I butchered the pronunciation of your username. Akaria. Wow, that was terrible. Akaria, thank you so much for that Twitch Prime sub. Hopefully I bounce back on the got it on the rebound.
This is an instance where I would have cropped it last because I would have cropped it in Photoshop and actually made it straight. Like I would have extended.
It's funny because oh god, I still have his like laser eyeballs shooting out. Akaria. Okay, cool. I'm sorry about that. The only problem I have there, and you could actually like fix like the headroom a little bit, because like if you crop it, you lose a lot of like the negative space above the head, which is less than ideal. I like it being a little wider with those negative space, but you could fix this. I don't think it's like a terrible Dutch angle, but I also agree. I don't think it needs to be there. Excuse me.
Yeah, I feel like without the Dutch, he looks more broader, and the cape effect is like less. Like the cape effect is more powerful if it wasn't on a Dutch angle.
I guess maybe if it was gonna be a Dutch angle, I think the angle, also maybe where it was taken from, could also be a little more dynamic. Like if you're gonna do it, like do it.
In general, my thoughts on Dutch angles are, if you have a lot of horizontal lines that are clearly showcasing like the level of the photo, you should maybe like figure out how you want to Dutch angle it and not show those. 'Cause Dutch angles are the most interesting when you're not thinking about like where the horizon line is, what makes the photo straight. Um, uh, and here there's so many, horizontal and vertical lines. You can't help but like be like, oh, but this photo's a Dutch angle. So that's the thing to me with Dutch angles. If you do a Dutch angle, you want to make sure you're doing it in a way that you're not thinking of, like you're not looking at the photo afterwards and being like, oh, that for sure was a Dutch angle. Um, yeah. I got one like we haven't been super nitpicky today, but there's just like one weird thing to me that's I don't understand why, and like my eye gets drawn to it and I'm like, what is this? There's kind of the highest ember in the image. There's like a bit of like this weird black smudge mark that looks like it was like a background cleanup thing that like went a little weird.
I don't know if I see what you're talking
Here,
about.
I see it.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I thought
So
dirty.
it's right there. I don't know what it is. It just feels like a little bit. It feels like
wow, that's
like
interesting.
the case of like where you're using the healing brush tool and something like just went weird with the healing brush tool. Should be super easy fix. I don't know. Just was like a weird thing that caught my eye.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I literally thought it was
Yeah.
being dirty.
No, I agree.
That's funny.
I do think there's probably a fair bit of cleanup because I actually look around the edge of the cape and it looks like actually there was a lot of masking and cleaning up. It's a little bit rough around that area, but honestly I have to look pretty hard to notice it, so I'm not gonna like dive too deep into that area. But if it were me, I'd try and spend a little bit more time cleaning that up.
Yeah, do you think this cape was done post or natural? Either way, I think it looks really cool, but
Yeah,
the cape,
yeah.
whether
So
done naturally or in post, looks
Oh,
very
the flip you mean.
so
flip.
I think it was actually done in camera, but I think there was probably something directly behind him on that wall that looked really ugly. That would be my guess based on how it's been edited. Cuz like I feel like if this was edited to have this nice of a shape, like it was pretty well done. So props if that was the case, but I kind of think there maybe was something in the background. I don't know. It's really hard to say. There is also a strong chance that like the only other thing I can think of is that these were actually two shots composited together, with one where like the pose was nailed, but one where the cape was nailed, and they composited in the cape from that one, and that's why there's these kind of like smudges and retouch areas. Yeah.
I think that's what Felix was saying.
I think that, yeah. Oh, not that like liquefied to adjust the cape shape and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case, but I could be wrong. I'm not super confident.
Who the fuck knows? Because we weren't there.
Yeah. Ooh, and cape was composited from another shot.
Well, shit.
Felix nailing it.
That explains it.
That explains it.
It's kind of odd because honestly, it doesn't look like there was anything else on the building that was taken out. At least to me.
Yeah.
So I can see where that cape.
Thanks for that context there.
Thank you.
Guys, got any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
No. I like it a lot.
I dig it.
Not just because it's Roy, but whatever.
I mean, a little bit because it's just Roy, but
yeah.
Something I do want to say that I actually dig on this image. I like that the face is not over retouched. I think a lot of cosplay photography is like, including mine, natural instinct is to like really smooth out the face, and I kind of enjoy that was not the case here. I think it works pretty well.
I agree too.
Let's move on to the next shot. This next one is from Midori Cosplays. Felix, do you want to start us off on this one?
Yeah, sure.
Don't die, Sarah.
So Midori is actually who I shoot frequently. So I can see now that she's trying to put me in the retirement. Hopefully. Oh wow! So this photo in particular actually reminds me of a lot of my first submission on this show because I had a white backdrop.
Oh my god, that's
I had
right.
lights. I also had awkward posing at the time, and yeah, so I'm getting lots of nostalgia from this shot.
I will
love
let
it.
you in on something that I love about this photo, but I'll tell you afterwards. And I think it makes makes me pretty happy that people are doing this and trying to make this happen with this. But continue, Felix.
I like the attempt at building a set, the backdrop, and then the lights. I can see where the concept is going. And then a couple of things that I would recommend would be just adjusting the lighting or making the cosplayer face towards the light so there are no harsh shadows on the face.
Mm-hmm.
Whichever is easier, either adding a light or having the cosplayer facing the light. And then this is something that just you just get better with time, is choosing a flattering pose that fits the frame. Because it's the hand part of the hand's cut off, and then the legs, like the feet, are cut off, and the cosplayer seems rigid or tense. So I'm not sure if there was a time crunch or it was cold in the room, but yeah.
I think a lot of that could be fixed if that their left arm was not forward, if they had it kind of back or on their hip or waist or something.
Honestly, that's probably the remote that she's holding.
No.
But yeah, Midori's incredibly young, but she's ahead of a lot of grown-up cosplayers. So I would say keep up the effort. You're probably the youngest creative I know. So if you want to...
I'm scared. I'm so old.
Same though. She's trying to put me in the retirement home. So definitely keep on shooting and try to take in the tips from us three that are about to give you.
So what do you guys
to get feedback? I can't do this.
What do you guys think this was shot on?
Like a Canon T5i or something.
Felix,
is it an iPhone? Is it a smartphone?
This was shot on.
I don't know. Those phones are getting pretty.
Yeah, this was shot on an iPhone 7, which I love about this shot. I love that the bit where it's not letting the lack of a DSLR shutting out the ability to let someone be creative and try and grow as a photographer. I think that's freaking awesome. I love that. I think that's super neat. And I want to see more people doing that. I think that's awesome. Yeah, we have a lot of expensive gear, but you can take cool shots.
Shit if you're not creative.
Yeah, you can take cool shots.
All right, so this is episode 26. So on episode 36, we shall see which iPhone or Google Pixel models have eliminated most of the con photographers.
We should have a phone-only submission.
I think that would be interesting if we had a challenge. Oh man, we should have had that. If I was going to if I had gone to Katsucon, do one shoot at Katsucon on your phone. I think that'd be awesome.
What if we do C2E2 challenge?
Are you going to C2E2?
Oh.
Yeah, it could be interesting.
But you guys are.
Yeah, no, but we'll figure. I'll think about it. I'll think about how we can influence.
Anyway,
Yeah, but that's for later. We'll think about that off air.
other things to keep in mind when you're doing self shoots, I mean, not the fuck I know what I'm doing because I literally don't know how to do any of this crap, is wrinkly backdrop. I think because they're a beginner, it's easier for them to iron out ahead of time. So like make sure it's nice and taut. Because right now it's like
taut.
A good trick for that, honestly, is to just like literally tape it, like pull the corners and tape it. That's what I used to do at my studio, at my agency job. I mean, Felix basically pretty much already said what I was thinking, so I'm kind of like beat it dead.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think we can. Felix nailed pretty much everything, so let's keep it going. Let's move on to the next shot then. This next one is from Maho Maddie. I know I saw her in chat.
Wait.
Are we rewinding here?
Oh no, yeah, just as a tip for a white seamless. So another good thing to get is instead of using a sheet, I would get paper. It's so cheap on Amazon, and you can just use like you can buy really simple stands to like to hold it up, and to create like a seamless so you don't have like that line in the background is to just roll it out, and you're literally sitting on the roll of paper. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's cheap. It's less crinkly and wrinkly as fabric, and will help you create those nice like clean lines.
So you say paper over cloth any day of the week?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. It's obviously the shelf life of paper is not as long as the fabric, but you're gonna get much cleaner photos as a seamless. Like you can literally create that faux seamless like studio effect with paper.
As Felix saves this for later.
You're typing so.
All right, let's.
Sorry.
Okay,
that was something I actually could help with.
No, it's fine. Back to this photo from Mahomedi. I know I saw her on chat earlier. Hopefully she's still around and hasn't fallen asleep like Fluffy Fox did.
Fucking mood.
Yeah, I want to sleep so bad. This is me. I'm talking about this photo. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Did I paste the link in the chat? Yeah, I already did. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna do it again because it's been a hot second, I think. Oh God. What am I doing with my life? Okay, click on the right things, please. Okay, cool. There we go. Do. Oh God damn it! I have to remember the right buttons. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. I'm sorry. I'm a hot mess.
Is the cosplayer in the background supposed to be Madoka, or is it supposed to be me?
I don't know. I'm not the right.
Yeah.
Okay, Maddie, you can answer that. I have no clue.
Only because I just want to.
I could see that being either way, but yeah. I would assume Madoka, but I really don't know. Oh, mommy, apparently.
Oh, it is mommy. Okay, then I like this composition. Okay.
Oh, okay. This makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of funny. I got it now.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. Because if it wasn't mommy, I would have said I would, but it's not. So.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. Then Maddie, clever choice there with this cropping.
But that being said, I think there needs to be more that it is, other than the fact that her head's.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry. You can talk.
No, you're fine. I really like the idea of this composition. I really think the cosplayer, the main cosplayer in this image, I think is the composition on them is really, really solid. I think the colors play really well in this image. You've got the purples on the one cosplayer and then the creams on the other, and that's echoed in the background with the bottom half of the background being purple and the top having those creams colors in it. And I think that works super nicely. Where I don't like this shot That sounds wrong. The cosplayer that's in the background with the head cropped out. I think the only real problem I have with this image is her pose just feels so odd. Like it was kind of like this, like halfway between leaning over and standing up. Like just there's like some real awkward tension in that pose because it's kind of that in between phase. And I get it because it's hard because like height difference that probably didn't make it work perfectly. I think if she, the cosplayer in the back had maybe squatted just a little bit to remove that tension of leaning over a little bit, this composition works even better. Because
I was literally gonna say the exact same thing.
Well, good. Glad I could have that echoed. I really dig the color grading and how you brought that this it's echo the colors in the background and the overall color grading echoes the shot in general. And I wanted to say this because Partholona says that Sorairo-Days' audio keeps cutting out. It occasionally does that for like a word or two. I don't know why. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry. It also gets cut off for me if that makes it any better. But yeah.
I love technical difficulties. We jinxed it.
I got to imagine it's just internet signal, and for whatever reason it cutting out for like a fraction of a second. So I don't know. All right. You guys got any thoughts on this one? I think maybe I'd like to see the lighting coming a bit more straightforward, so that you get like some little bit more nice lighting on the face. I like how it like the lighting works on the rest of the costume, but I also wish there was like a bit more like catch lights in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I also wish that Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Finish.
No, okay then.
I
wish
like.
Oh my god.
God, this is like the most Midwestern bullshit ever. Go ahead, Felix. I will stop.
I feel like with like I feel like this would be a good photo for maybe her eyes closed and maybe like a head tilt or chin down, or maybe like her head resting on the forearm. I feel like that would make the image more powerful.
It's funny because the comment I was just gonna say is I wish her chin was down, and she was looking down. I think that could have worked really well. So I love how all of our comments are in sync on this one.
I do agree with everyone. Like I love the conflicting colors of yellow and purple.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Any other thoughts on this one?
No.
Cool. Okay, let's move on to the next shot. This one is from PTK Photography. Sarah, do you want to start us off here?
Yes. First off, this location is so beautiful. It is so perfect for Belle. Like, I'm always impressed with you guys who have these like dope ass places to shoot and you don't get freaking yelled at like I do. I really like the color grading in this photo. I think this is like a good example of like it has like a quasi like monochromatic color scheme, but it still has like a lot of depth to it, and I really really like that. I also like the soft lighting in this. Like it has like that really plays up like that dreamy like Disney feel for Belle's character, which is really nice. I think it's let me check. It's not in focus, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or missed focus.
I think the focus is on the flower on her dress.
Yeah, definitely parts of her dress and not the pillar, the railing are a little more in focus. Yeah, so I guess it's more like missed focus.
Yeah, it's definitely.
So that kind of sucks, but I mean, something you can fix. And also online, it's like fine when you're like zoomed out a little more. But I do wish the focus was there. I also feel like this photo could benefit a little bit from dodging and burning. just to kind of like bring out some more detailing, like on her face, especially in like the dress. But it does feel like a tiny bit flat to me. Yeah, so those are my initial.
Yeah, I do wish. I honestly think the contrast on Belle is more or less fine, but I wish there was a bit more contrast in the background.
Maybe that's what. Yeah, there's just something that's not quite.
Yeah, right. The background's a little flat. Type. I do really dig the lines in this shot, though. There's a lot of just lovely lines going on here.
Yeah, right.
Kind of just they all kind of flow in this circular way because you've got this one diagonal line, then verticals, then more diagonals, then more verticals, then horizontal lines. It's just kind of a lot going on there, and I think it works pretty darn well. I also wish there was just a bit more color depth to this image. I know the mono.
Maybe that's what I mean. Yeah, it's missing some kind of depth. I'm just not really sure.
Yeah, I think there's just a bit more contrast in the background and a bit more color depth. Like add maybe a bit more tones in the background. Avid Exposure says, I can't tell from the resolution of the stream. This is where I plug the fact that I've been posting the Flickr links for all of these images in the chat. So if you want to see them, I am posting the full resolutions for everyone to see. So that way you can judge full screen and not via crappy resolution here. He says that they thinks there's heavy clone stamping. It's just that it's out of focus. Like there's no clone stamping that it's going on there, I'm pretty sure. At least I think. If there is, it matches up pretty well. Trying to think. This is another example of a shot where the eyes are leading us out of the frame. Another one where it's on the third, eyes are leading out of the frame. Thematically, I think it fits the photo. I think the story kind of behind this, there's this kind of like dreaminess, forlornness that kind of feels like it's communicating because of that. I still think like compositionally it doesn't help the photo all that much, but I think there's so many other strong lines through this image that it doesn't hurt it that much. Just because you've got this like I think the biggest thing that saves it from feeling super odd, or not odd, but like having your eye totally pulled out, is you've got the railing provides this really strong edge to the frame that kind of stops you from going out of the image. Also, just like pose wise, I like the hand on the railing. I would like to see softer hands. Right now they're a bit more of a fist, and the hand that's kind of resting on the stomach feels a little odd to me.
Agreed.
I think maybe just having it down and off to the side with like little bit of like a hand pop would, at the little bit of bend at the wrist, would look really well. Cool. Any other thoughts on this one, guys?
I feel like this is one rule I follow when it comes to posing, is the nose shouldn't cross the cheek. I think if if her head was rotated very slightly to the left, so more of her other eye would be shown in the photo, I think it's a small change, but I think it would helped a lot.
Something I wanted to say real quick, that Parthol, oh, fuck, I can't pronounce anything right now. I'm gonna shorten it to Parth because I'm lazy. Says in the chat, I feel like her hands are a little stiff, and her right hand seems like she was insecure about her midriff. I would agree with you. That does kind of feel like the weird thing that it's communicating. I just like, and I don't think that is something that needs to happen. She looks lovely. I wish it was just kind of down and off. And I would agree, like that. There's like that weird nose rule crossing the face. I think it's a little like I've never like judged it too hard, but I agree.
I just like never thought about that until you just brought it up.
Let's move on to the next shot. This next one is from Avid Exposure, who I know is in chat because I just saw his comment as we moved on. Felix, why don't you just tear Aaron a new one right now?
I think it's my turn.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's about to be top 10 anime betrayals right now. I'm gonna bring on the roast. No, I'm kidding. Right off the bat, I love the kind of the sad boy feel and mood of the photo.
Mm-hmm.
I feel I don't know if the arm is supposed to be symbol. I played the game, but I'm like, is the arm supposed to be symbolic for something? Like it has me thinking, which is good. I like the natural sky fade in the photo. Like I like how like it gradually fades. One thing is the shoes are cropped. I feel like
that's my biggest gripe.
I know. I'm just like I feel like this shot is like
it's so
like
cool.
Like a half a foot. Like if it was just like a half a foot more, I would just love this shot. But like it's just the like slight cut off of the feet, and I'm like, no.
And it's like it's so close. And I'm just like,
It's
oh
so
my god,
close.
you almost could draw in new shoes. Like that's how close. It's okay. It's okay. We've all done it before.
Continue, Felix. Sorry.
So I'm not sure if it was possible to take a half step back because I know this is like I know across from this arm I think there's a street. But I would have also maybe tried to cut it like I don't know if it would work, but mid ankle, and it'd still be like the same photo.
Mid ankle, you said?
Yeah, like.
I'm just like I feel like if you're gonna cut off feet, it needs to be like knee and a. I feel like anything in between that, I'm just kind of like it just feels so weird to me. But that's just me personally.
Yeah, I do think if you crop it,
personal opinion.
I do think if you crop it in a little bit tighter, like just past the shoes, it doesn't feel quite as bad. Like the
feels a little more intentional.
Yeah, yeah. It right now it just feels like you didn't pull back quite far enough. Versus if you just crop out the shoes, I think it reads like it was intentional.
And then I love the colors overall. Like I love the striking red, like how like the in the cosplayer's hair.
Yeah.
I think something I would have done differently would be to like double down on the I don't know if he was going for the sad boy feel or mood, but I would have doubled down on it and I would have adjusted the highlight and shadow colors a little bit to make it maybe more like because I feel like the highlights are a bit too like bright and happy like like a sunny photo. But yeah, otherwise I love the photo.
I know I just like went crazy over the cropping the shoes, but I actually really freaking dig this composition.
Yeah, literally the only thing that bothers me is the shoes.
Yeah,
like that's about it. Other than that, I think it's super striking. Like this one, like, this is something like if I was scrolling on social media or flipping through a magazine, I would stop.
I love the gradient in the sky. I love the negative space in this photo. I love how you framed the arm in the shot. Like it, you just have these little bits of the edge on the edge where like so you have a little bit of negative space so that it doesn't feel like the arm's like going off the frame. I think it looks really really cool.
Well, you got broad daylight to work. Like like the light on cool. Brenda looks so good. She looks so good.
The only thing that I can think of that would maybe make this photo even more interesting, that I think would be a fairly easy Photoshop job, is if you photoshopped out the land in the background that separate, like there's the bit that kind of like between the water and the sky. If you photoshopped out the kind of that like land mass that is in there, it's kind of an uglyish land mass. I don't know what else to call it. I'm trying to
Because everything else is like so clean.
Yeah. I'm trying to do like the quickest possible like I just concept to see how that would look. So give me like stall for time. Give me like another 30 seconds. I'm gonna make this work.
Was this shot on 28mm or was it on your 7?
It was shot at, assuming that's in the comments here, this was shot at 50 millimeters. 50 millimeters, ISO 100, f 1.4, 1/8,000th of a second. Honestly, it's kind of it's kind of crazy that to me that this is a f 1.4 shot. It does not look like it at all to me.
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be the sloppiest job ever. For that, I am sorry. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna try and get this. Stall for time. Stall for time. Come on, Andrew. You can edit fast. No, you can't. Are you kidding?
It's been like 3 hours, dude.
I know. I'm sorry. All right, this is the sloppiest thing I've ever done.
Literally just gotta copy and paste and then mask it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did. Like, so.
Oh my god.
It's super ugly and sloppy, but just to get the idea of like what it would look like without that landmass in there, and just if it went from like made it look like the sea versus having that landmass there, I think that looks really cool. I'd love to see you take it that way. That said, I still think it's really solid as is, just like a little.
No, I actually like it with not the landmass on the left, but if they were to clone whatever's on the right on the left,
that could also work.
Yeah, because like Final Fantasy VII is like very industrial, so I feel like this kind of takes away from that by removing it completely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, usually I like taking out all that shit in the harbor area, but I think in the case of it being for Final Fantasy VII, I think it doesn't hurt it. It's just that there's that one big dark island blob on the left, and that's far.
Yeah. You guys got any final thoughts on this one? I'm a big fan.
Freaking dope as fuck.
Okay.
I love it.
Let's move on to the next and final shot of the critique. This one is from Eric Jaworski. Let me grab that Flickr link for everyone.
Oh, this Wonder Woman costume is so good. What?
Yeah, it's a pretty dope costume. Oh, I can close
dude,
Flickr.
the details are insane.
Where are you? I want to see if there's any comments. Okay. It's a hard area to shoot without lights.
Where is it?
This is at Anime Milwaukee. And like it's actually a really cool area, but you pretty much need to have lights because otherwise the lighting in the area is pretty ugly. But like if you have lights, it can look pretty decent. I believe this was actually shot with I forget. Hold on. Oh yeah, flash extension pointed towards the ceiling. Yeah, I honestly don't know if the light is actually flash is doing too much on this image. So I would actually like the biggest thing that you could do is I think is for shooting in this location is be able to take your flash off camera softbox, and you can do a lot of good in this area. I do like though that the colors overall have a good cohesion. I'd like to see the color grading taken a little bit further. I'm not a big fan of how the yellows end up looking in this shot, but I think playing around with the color grading, you can get like a really nice gold, bit more of like a golden color out of the yellows that could look really cool. Where this shot really struggles for me though is in the pose. I like the way her legs are situated on the step. To me, it's really in the arms and the head position. Both of her arms feel really, really lax. Like they're just like she's holding the sword, but there's no tension in her arm. She's not holding it up. She's just kind of letting it relax onto her leg. Shield's just kind of held low into the side, which I think can work. I think like you can relax with those items, but I would like to see that. Like I just feel like that's a super weird way, especially with like the sword against the leg feels pretty weird to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of odd that the blade is like directly on her.
Also,
skin.
yeah, that's that's pretty much my thought there. Also, with like the head pose of like looking back and down, it's in general, I just think a not very flattering position for most people. Like looking back and down like that just kind of gives you like a weird chin position. I also feel like maybe there's a bit of wide angle distortion going on here. I'm not totally sure. But I don't think that's helping there. I could be wrong on that, but in general, I would like to see her head position a little bit different. Kind of give her a stronger jawline. Give her like, I think maybe if you had her torso turning a bit more, this head position could work a bit more. But as her torso is right now, and she's just turning her head like this, I'm not sure. I'm a big fan. Final thing, something I tried to avoid when shooting in this place is having these stripes, like these marble column stripes, go right behind the cosplayer. I in general tried to place, I tried to place the cosplayer like in between those sections instead of having those pillars go right behind them. You guys got some thoughts?
I feel like I really like the gold and the red on the cosplay. I feel like I think for this photo I'm really feeling a vignette of some sort.
Yes,
I think would enhance the image.
Yeah, I think there's like a slight one going on based on the lens, but I think you get
wait, are you saying to add one, Felix? Not that you see one right now.
Oh. No, I'd say add one.
Oh, because I see one and I don't know if I like it.
I see one, but I think there could be a better like implementation of a vignette.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because Eric says this was tough, especially because other shoots going on in the staircase. Honestly, this is like one of the only good places to shoot at Anime Milwaukee. So
oh really?
Yeah, like pretty much everyone that knows about this area shoots at this location. It's kind of ridiculous.
I think from a color grading standpoint, I would have completely taken out the yellow background. Like to target them specifically.
Yeah.
So it was more of like that white marble look. Because I agree with Felix. I think the gold and the costume are really nice, but the gold and the overall tone of the image is not great. It just gives kind of like that I shot this in a lit condition kind of feel. And that's a pretty easy edit to do as well. If you do selective color layer, you can tackle the yellow specifically. And actually, I would do a hue saturation later. Tackle the yellows, desaturate the yellows completely, or enough, and then kind of go from there, if that makes any sense. I don't know. Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this one?
Also, that would make her pop more. I'd say for shooting in a very populated area at the shooting, it's a pretty good photo.
Yeah,
considering the situation.
Yeah, it's hard because like so this area it has two staircases. Like it's one area with two staircases that go up on each side. They're like just one area that has two spirals going on each side, but they're actually fairly restricted, and it's like weird, and like that's the only good area in this convention. Like it's ridiculous.
How strict is security in this
In
area?
this area, it's not at all, which is good.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Apparently they got. I hadn't been to Anime Milwaukee since 2015, 16. I don't remember which one. But last time I was here, they were a lot stricter in this location, but now I think they've just gotten over it for Anime Milwaukee, and they stopped giving a shit because like we were shooting everywhere in this hotel location, and they were like, whatever. Like we were shooting in rooms that like maybe we shouldn't have even been in, but they just had open anyways, and they were just like staff like saw us, and they were just like, yeah, whatever. It was kind of surprising and refreshing. But cool. Okay, I think with that, it's time to wrap up the critique. Felix, thank you so much for as he leans off screen here. Felix, thank you so much for being on this episode. It was a pleasure having you with us. Tell the people where they can find your work.
So I'm FX Dandy on Instagram, and Twitter. About Facebook anymore. It's kind of dead.
Yeah.
But also please follow my waifu, mangocost@gmail.com. Her stuff's great. I mean, I shoot it. I shoot the
Her
photos.
stuff's great. Aw,
she's very nice.
You're so cute.
We love Emra.
Yeah. So you have a upcoming cons you're going to?
Which one am I not going to?
God damn it, Felix.
So
how are you alive?
Yeah, I'll be at all the major cons besides the one in Texas.
Are you
Only reason is because
fucking
I don't know anyone in Texas.
Oh my god.
Anime NYC is a maybe. It's a big maybe, but yeah, I'm at every other major con on like the top 15 list.
So what it comes down to, is there a con? Yes. Will Felix then Felix will be
Probably
there.
easier to ask, like, is there a con you're not?
Yeah, just tell us the cons that you're not. Here's the case. Tell us your most recent con you will be at. Or soonest.
I will be at C2E2, but after that I'll be at SakuraCon in Seattle, and then I think right after that is Anime Central, then into Fanime, and then into Colossal Con.
Oh God, you're doing that lineup?
Oh my god, ew!
The triple.
The only person I've ever known that did that was Rachel, and she just like when she got to Colossal Con, she was just like, "I'm ready to die."
She's like, I'm deceased.
Well, I'm treating Colossal Con as a vacation con.
I'll pray for you, Felix. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not doing Colossal Con this year.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Bless your soul. I'll pray for you when you're dead.
I mean, last year didn't kill me.
I know, but it adds up. Like it's
It
not
does
like
add up.
it's not like the last year's going away. You still got that shit. To build whatever. Point being is Felix will be at every con that's ever existed. So yeah, you'll find him.
Felix.
Yeah, book him. He's at the con that you want to go to and get photos at. So just book him anyways. Sarah, where can people find your work?
Instagram. I'm also starting to do photo edit walk.
Yeah, you got.
They're also posted to my Instagram stories with the link. Hope they're helpful.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of stuff on your coffee now, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I started the coffee because I felt weird receiving tips like in person. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of weird. Like I know you all mean well, but it just was awkward for me. So Trade the coffee as like a tip jar, I guess. Like, please don't feel inclined to do it. I have a job. I have my own income.
I'm in school and just put the donate link in the chat, so like I may have slightly different feelings on that, but that's
What's different? You're still in school.
Okay. No, I love what you've been doing with that, with sharing kind of your editing breakdowns. I think those are super cool. You can find me obviously on Twitch, but I'm also on Facebook at Vontography and on Instagram at Vontog. I will also be at C2E2. I will likely open some bookings at C2E2. I don't really know what I'm going to be doing there yet. I need to figure that out soon. Now time to announce the next critique. Our next critique will be on March 21st, so 2 weeks from today, and that will be with Sono Photos.
Ew.
So check that one out. Oh my god.
Emra's been bugging me all stream to get him on.
Oh my god. It's Hank.
Hi, His name is Hank. Oh my god.
As you just derailed it.
Sorry to derail you.
Hank, are you tired? Me too, man.
Yeah, he's old. He's a senior citizen.
Oh,
me too. Emra, you should get Emra to say hi.
She's at work. She's on the stream.
Okay. Yeah, so our next critique will feature Hank on as a guest. Hank will be critiquing your photos. No, not Hank. It will be
Sono Photos.
It'll be Sono Photos or David. David's awesome.
Sono Photos. There's a dog
great. Yeah, I know, right? Like it's just dead. We've derailed. We're done, guys. I mean, pretty much. Actually,
he should have been on the stream the entire. Literally, I was like, "You guys have like 500 dogs. Why is there none of them?"
I didn't want to distract. That'd be rude.
No.
So, big shout out, thank you to everyone who stuck around and watched the entire thing, especially to those of you who critiqued along with us or asked questions during the Q&A. You guys are the MVPs here, and that's freaking awesome. If you enjoy the stream, donations and subs go a long way to keep things going. So if you're enjoying it, consider giving a donation. It is not expected by any means. Also, if you have Amazon Prime, that means you have Twitch Prime, which means you have one free sub per month to give to whatever streamer that you want. And if you have that, why not consider me? I would appreciate it. Also, if you don't use it, that money goes away, and you're letting Jeff Bezos take that sweet money. So use it, even if it's not on me. Give it to someone at least. If you have Amazon Prime and you're not using your Twitch Prime free sub, what are you doing with your life? Yeah, I think that's everything that I got for you guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks. And
one last thing. So I actually made a conscious decision to stop submitting, but not because of the show or anything, but because people started booking me through the show. So I'm just like,
oh, it's too popular now.
I should probably donate a portion of this to the show. But I'm also poor millennial right now because I'm unemployed.
Dude, don't even worry. It is not. No.
No, stop talking.
No,
literally
you're
stop
fine.
talking.
You're fine. You're fine.
Stop.
But yeah, because I know all of our other talented friends are here, so tinfoil hat. This is a advertising platform now.
Oh Lord.
I mean,
maybe just a tiny bit, but I mean, hey, if it
exposure helps.
Yeah, man, if it helps, then sweet. I'm glad. I'm glad to have been a helping factor in that. That's awesome. But yeah, no, if you genuinely though, if you have like the easiest thing you can do is if you have Amazon Prime, just give that a Twitch Prime sub, man. Just do it for someone. Otherwise you're letting Jeff Bezos have that money. He don't need that money.
He don't need that money, we do.
All right, with that, I think it's time to call it a night. I am freaking exhausted. Today was super long. I didn't get to bed till didn't fall asleep till 3 a.m. last night. So, and I had school all day, and I've been nonstop, and I am dying here. I haven't been up till that late in probably oh god, a long ass time. It's probably been at least a half a year since I've stayed up till 3. I'm an old person. I'm sorry.
Fuck that.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. Before this just turns into old people complaining, let's end this guy here. And with that, I'm gonna continue to steal one of my sayings, or one of my favorite podcasts' sayings to wrap it up here, which is think about what you put out in the world, make it a better place. Goodbye, everyone.